what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Down Unders. As you know, guys, we've been starting off the season doing all our previews on the team list and all that, and we got our man Brody beside me, the footy knowledge that he brings to the show, as he always does on Down Unders. Brody, how you feeling, brother? We finish off all these previews for the team. Are you really excited to finish us off with probably 5 of, I'm going to say 3 of the best teams in the competition next year? A couple of them could fall out of the 8. How excited are you to finish this off for you for the previews this year, bro?
Excited, brother. Excited to get to the point where we can start talking about the games that happened on the weekend, not just, predictions and what ifs, just to get to see some live action and see it all happen.
Yeah, that's the thing, bro. Like, for the last, how many weeks we've been talking about what ifs and thinking about, maybe will they do this, maybe will they do that, but now we're starting to see a little bit of the action of that. And with saying that too, coming into last weekend's game, we got to finally see some football, brother. Did you get to catch many of the games over the weekend, my man?
No, I really didn't. I was busy doing some other things, and I'm not against everyone playing their young guns in the trials. It's the best thing for them to do, but yeah, it didn't draw my attention too much to put everything aside to watch it. You know what I mean? So I did catch the highlights though, and yeah, some key moments, especially in your boys' game. But definitely, yeah, some good action over the weekend still. Nonetheless, I've seen a couple of good tries scored as well for Canberra.
Are you going to be keen on watching? Obviously, we're going to talk about the Indigenous All-Stars game and all that later on. After all our previews and that, but are you keen on watching, obviously, a doggies trial coming up this week? And I'm sure you're going to be really excited for that.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a gaze. We haven't named too strong of a squad, but a lot of guys that will be in that run-on predicted squad that we named just last week. So yeah, keen to see how those guys go. Keen to see how they use the new combinations. But yeah, just keen to see what our future holds as well. Seeing that we re-signed 2 young guns already today for the next couple of years. So yeah, keen on the future for the doggies as well. It's massive at the moment.
Yeah, a couple of ex-Warriors and that named in your lineup as well. So I'm sure Warriors fans will definitely be watching out, especially with Zion Ma'u in your squad. But let's not talk about that because it'll bring up, tears of all our fan base and myself in general. It's going to be sad to see him in different colors, but we'll continue to move on. I think, obviously, the one place we can touch on, obviously, with the trials, 12 all, the Warriors and the Sharkies, and obviously the Canberra Raiders getting over the Penrith Panthers. As I touched on with you before, trials are trials, right? Like, as you said to me before, if we're going off trials, the Canberra Raiders are probably going to win the comp this year, right?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And as much as the Wars probably should have put that game to bed, and you look at the squads paper on paper and how long the Wars kept that starting spine out there and everything, you think that they should have really come away with the victory, but don't get disheartened. At the end of the day, it is a trial. They're there to just try things. They're there to muck around. They're probably not putting their all into every run, every tackle. So don't stress it. It's about getting those combinations right and just be grateful that there was no injuries that came from it.
Well, that's exactly right. Other than Dallin Watini's a Lesniak, that was a tough one for our boys, and especially we were hunting for outside backs and that. But if we're going off trials, Jacko, he was commenting last night on Wise Up TV. Guys, if you haven't gone checked out Wise Up TV, go check it out. I do a Warriors show, obviously, on there. But Jacko here, who's usually a commenter in this chat as well, he brought up, obviously, the Warriors went up against the Broncos in the 2014 preseason into trials, and we smoked them 50-0. And guess what? Within that year, Matt Elliott got sacked and we were fucking awful. So this is what happens, right? It's trials. I think the overall, yeah, Jacko, good to see you in the chat, my brother. And also Tahi rolling up as well. Doggy's looking pretty good. Great little compliment for your boys out there. But yeah, trials. You take all the little things out of it. Obviously, you want to see the fitness of the boys. You want to see little areas where we can grow, of course, but you don't want to read into too much because they're not going to play at full intensity of an actual NRL game. You don't want everyone going out there getting hurt before the actual season starts up. So I think there's a little things that coaches try to hide. Obviously, there's a whole lot of things you can read into it, but obviously, it's still really cool to see football in our screens, and we've been missing it for so long. It's going to be a full weekend this weekend of footy, I'll tell you that. All right, but we're moving on to, we're going to be talking about the biggest news of this week. Christian Welch, medically retiring. Really, really sad news, obviously, with Christian Welch and also the Melbourne Storm, even the Queensland Maroons as well, and just for the rugby league community in general. Your thoughts overall on this move? Due to numerous concussions from what I've seen and, multiple injuries that he's obviously carried. I've heard concussions was a main sticking point as well. which is sad to see. But you know, a major leader in the game. You know, he was a massive player for us in the Maroons for a long period of time there. Your thoughts on the Melbourne Storm losing a player of his ability, his experience? Obviously, he's getting on long in the tooth at the moment, but definitely a sad loss.
Yeah, well, he was just a prime Melbourne player, you know, did all the little things right, just effort upon effort. You know, it wasn't any superstar moments in his game, but just did all the little things right. And that's what Melbourne build their players around. And yeah, I did see at the end of last year, due to his concussions, he's been missing a lot of games. And I do recall something being in Melbourne's contract with him that this season coming, if he didn't play X amount of games and make Origin, the Storm had an option to cut his contract. Like that was in a clause for his contract. You know, obviously they probably wouldn't have wanted to do that, but it's probably the right call that he's made anyway, now suffering another concussion at training. Look, it's the best thing for him. I think I read somewhere that he had 7 in the last 2 years or something like that, 2 or 3 years. So, you know, it's borderline risking the rest of your life. And as you touched on, I think he's a pretty smart guy off the field as well. So expect him to do a fair bit of analysing of the game once he's done. And, you know, why not look forward to that in the future instead of risking it to play maybe another 1 or 2 seasons. So, yeah, smart move. He will be missed. Melbourne will miss him, but I'm sure you'll see him probably running the water for them or something like that.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, touching on some of his accomplishments overall, obviously 163 games for the Melbourne Storm. You know, Melbourne Storm captain 2022 to 2023, Melbourne Storm life member inducted in 2024, 6 State of Origin appearances for the Queensland Maroons. Obviously, State of Origin series, I'm guessing there. I'm sure he's played a lot more games in general with that. You know, 2021 to 2023, RLPA player director. He's a premiership winner in 2020, a World Club Challenge winner, and grand finalist both in 2018 and 2016. So, an amazing career, and as you said, a very smart man. So it's probably good to obviously keep his brain whole, you know, for the rest of it, because there is life after football, whether a lot of people believe that or not. You know, what he'd be, I'm pretty sure he's like 30. I should have double checked that before. I think he's like 32, right? Something like that. He's around the 30s anyway. So he's still got a bit of life left, obviously, as a human being. So hopefully all goes well. He has no hiccups and all that. Definitely really sad news that hit the rugby league world by storm this morning. Also, shout out to a US rugby league and union fan. I'll be at Vegas in a few weeks for the NRL weekend. Last year was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Get out there, brother. Good to see you. Jump in our chat. Appreciate you, brother. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. So thank you so much for coming through, my man, and supporting the channel. And yeah, Vegas is going to be incredible this year. I can't wait. Yeah,
look, it's going to be an atmosphere and a half, you know, with the 4 games there this year. I know one of them's a Super League game, but nonetheless, 4 games to build the hype, and just hopefully the Yanks can see the difference between the NRL and the Super League, and I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will, Bella. I'm sure they will. Guys, just make sure you let me know. I think my mic level has gone down again. I had trouble with this last week. I thought I fixed it up. There we go. It should be back up again. Hopefully it is sounding crispy all for you as well right now.
We're just glad your voice is sounding better, brother.
Oh, bro, yeah, being sick for the last couple of weeks has been fucking shithouse. So yeah, guys, I really do apologize, and you know, I'm back fresh and ready to go. For some reason, just my mic volume keeps getting turned down, so that sucks so much. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, continuing on, brother. Obviously, new news around the Bulldogs. A couple of big news. Obviously, in New Jersey being revealed and all that. We'll touch on that first. Your thoughts overall on the jersey that came out?
Look, as soon as I seen that come out, it was ordered. It's on its way. It's been shipped. I wasn't missing out. Like, as soon as that jersey dropped, I ordered that straight away. So I've got that jersey coming. But yeah, dope jersey. 90 years this year for the Doggies. So yeah, they've been doing massive things, man. Like I said, I keep touching on it. Since joining the members, man, you get to see a whole nother side. And the club culture, man, is outstanding at the moment. You couldn't ask for better culture amongst the club that you support. You know, there's no bickering. There's no guys like eyeing each other out at training, all that sort of shit. Like, you know, that's pretty standard, I guess, but you do hear that, especially in the off season. So, but none of that's happening at the Doggies at the moment. So yeah, very, very excited for the seasons ahead. Bro,
it's a good looking jersey, and like I also really did enjoy how they incorporated the the laundry group, you know, sponsor in the middle of the jersey. I think a lot of NRL teams have struggled with that. In, you know, obviously incorporating some of their sponsorships to make it look good on the jersey as well. But that's probably one of the best ones I've seen for a while, and I'm sure a lot of doggy fans are going to adore that. I know you've been chasing a horizontal stripe doggies jersey for a while now, and you've got this one locked in order today.
Brother, it'll be here. I don't know when, but the order's been placed. Within an hour of it being posted up available, it's been placed.
Get excited, bro. Get excited. And also in massive news as well, Hazem El Masri getting inducted in the Doggies Hall of Fame. How you feeling, brother? That's a massive achievement for him. He's one of the best wingers of all time. And also just the heart. He's left such a big imprint on the Dogs, especially when we grew up, right? So your thoughts on that? Yeah,
he's the soul man. The reason I supported the Doggies from such a young age, like it was him, you know, watching him back from, you know, 202, 201, when I could really function what's going on. Yeah, I loved Hazem El Masri. You know, the way he goal kicks, the way he plays out of his skin despite his size, the most honest man. Just the way he plays the game despite being, you know, a midget compared to everybody else. So yeah, just outstanding. Can't be more happy to see Hazem get what he deserves and inducted into the Doggies Hall of Fame.
100%, brother. 100%. Yeah, it's a massive feat. Obviously, you know, the guy was just known for how he played the game, right? Yeah, just a hardy winger out in that wing, like, you know, and also just his goal kicking potential, like ability was absolutely amazing. I have so many memories growing up. Watching, you know, the early Doggies in 2004 and all that. For these are like some of my earliest memories of the Dogs, and Hazem El Masri from the sideline, bro, just converting some crazy, like in the toughest moments too. Like, you know, we're talking about to win games and that from the sideline, bro. And you know, I don't think there's anyone more deserving, obviously, with the Doggies to get into the Hall of Fame with Hazem El Masri. I know you absolutely adore him. One of your big reasons for following the Dogs, obviously, when you grew up too, right?
100%. As I touched on, he's the sole reason I started supporting the Doggies. Yeah, love that man. Got to meet him once or twice. So, yeah, he's an outstanding bloke.
100%, brother, 100%. So with that, guys, we may as well continue to move over into, actually, is there anything else you wanted to touch on, bro, before we move on?
No, I don't think there's too much more news floating around this week. The media's been pretty quiet. They must be getting bored, eh?
Yeah, well, you know, getting ready for the season, all the trials around, I think, yeah, it's a weird one, bro, right? Like, it's usually the NRL always produces in the off-season, but this season has been a bit of a lackluster one. Obviously, with a couple of retirements early, that's a bit different, but yeah.
No off-field scandals other than old Ezra, so the rest of the group's been pretty good. Maybe they've learned to finally stop posting the dumb shit they do on their weekends.
Classic NRL, bro. Hopefully, it's becoming more of a professional game these days. So hopefully it continues on to be that, right? And, you know, with that being said, we got a 2025 season closely approaching, as we've been doing for the last, you know, what, I think it's been 4 weeks now, brother, right?
Yeah, 4 weeks with a week in between. Yes, 4 weeks.
Yeah. So the last 4 weeks, guys, we've been going through each and every team. We're going to predict the round one lineup. So this is round one lineup. So obviously we're going to take injuries into account as well. We will touch on certain players that maybe if we're leaving them out, where we do think they're going to fit back into the lineup, all that sort of stuff. And also, you know, we're going to be touching on, you know, where they're going to sit, obviously our prediction in the ladder. And we're going to do a proper prediction ladder a week before the finals, guys. So not next weekend, the weekend after, week after. Get excited for that. We're going to do our proper predictions with a special guest of ours, a good friend of ours that wants to jump on the channel as well. So that's going to be a really exciting time. But are you ready to go, brother?
Ready to go, brother. Let's get through these average ass teams, eh?
Oh, average ass teams. I love it. I love the confidence Doggies fans are running into the season with right now. And we may as well start off with the North Queensland Cowboys. Guys, also far out, man. My mic level is just continuing to drop. I do apologize. I need to fix that. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, continuing on, the North Queensland Cowboys for 2025. So player movements, our 2025 games for the North Queensland Cowboys. John Bateman from the West Tigers in 2026. Carl Launton out of the Manly Seagulls 2026. Kai O'Donnell coming back from the Super League from the Lead Leopards in 2026. And Jackson Paulo from the Manly Seagulls. Here's with the Cowboys. I think that was a mid-season, you know, thing that happened last year. But anyway, it is a 2025 game. Yeah. 2025 losses. Kyle Felt going to Super League. Finay Fuyaki going to the Dolphins. A massive loss for me. I think he's a great player, so I think the Dolphins are going to love him. We got Josieski with the Brisbane Broncos. That was a mid-season move. Valentine Holmes to St. George Illawarra Dragons. Jermaine Tanoa-Brown all retiring. That's a sad one, obviously. You know, he had a little bit of potential there too. And Chad Townsend going to the Sydney Roosters. So with hearing all those gains and losses, brother, where are you ranking? What's their grade that you're giving them for their incomings and outgoings?
I think they've lost a lot more better ones than they've gained. I really don't rate the Bateman signing. It's pretty average for me, bro. I'm going to go a C-.
C-, yeah. I'm probably with you there, to be honest. Like, if we're looking at the losses we got here, we got a young gun in Finay Fuyaki that we sent a lot of great moments in last year. We had an experienced winger that surprisingly, you know, we had discussions of this, but Kyle Felt, bro, you know, he had a great year last year. You know, the signing of John Bateman ended up happening at the perfect time, obviously, with Heel and Lukey going down. But to be honest, like, you know, they got themselves in that predicament for pushing out Finay Fuyaki or him going to the Dolphins. So they should have probably tried to lock him up earlier. Losing Valentine Holmes and experienced centre. I think that's what we add in with this. So I'm going to run with you there. What'd you say, C-?
Oh, yeah, look, saying about that again, brother, I'm probably going to go a D, to be honest. Like, even Townsend, Townsend has played in grand finals. You know, he's got a lot of games under his belt. And, you know, you're teeing up, what's his name, Clifford to take over as half, and now he's gone down as injured. You kind of left with a bit of holdover already. So, like, yeah, it's pretty average recruiting this year from the Cowboys.
Yeah, and like also, you know, I like the recruitment of Carl Lawton. I think out of all the recruitments, I'm really excited to see him. I think he can fill out multiple spots. But if you're like, I say your major key incomings is John Bateman and Carl Lawton, because Kyle O'Donnell's still young and still trying to figure out, you know, coming to first grade. Jackson Paulo still yet to figure out a first grade spot as well. If they're your two key ins, I don't think it bodes well, obviously, for, you know, a big grading from us. So, yeah, C- for me. I'm sticking with you. You're going to go to D?
Yeah, we'll go D+.
That is what it is. Now, moving over to the predicted team list for round number 1, brother. Who have you got for fullback?
Yeah, Scotty Drinkwater's got to stay at fullback. I heard a bit of talk that he potentially move into the halves, but it's fullback for me. He's too deadly out the back.
Yeah, agreed, brother. I'm going with Scotty Drinkwater. Hopefully the goal kicker coming into the season for Supercoach if people are going that way with Supercoach. But also we'll talk about the 7 a little bit later on, because the young 7 that is put his hand up as well. He's got a goal kicking potential from what I heard. And there's rumors that he could probably take over the goal kicking if he is able to get that starting spot. So do watch out for that news when we talk about it a little bit later on. Wingers for you, brother.
Yes, so I'm going to start with Murray Tuolungi and Robert Derby.
Yeah, they're my two as well. Obviously, Murray Tuolungi, I'm a massive fan of Muzza. What's your thoughts on Murray Tuolungi? Where does he stick out for you?
Yeah, his defense, man. His defense is on another level. We've seen that in Origin. And it just, his try-scoring ability, we've seen the freakish tries he's pulled off over the years. So you can't go past Murray. And for me, Robert Derby, he impressed me in the PNG international games over the break. So I think I'm going to start with him and give him the nod over Jackson Paulo.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. Obviously, Derby has proven himself in years past that he has the ability to be on that wing and do a great job. He also got Semi Valamai. They could contend with him there. But from all I'm hearing, he's having a great preseason. So he's probably, for me, he's the one I'm going to be looking at to pair him up on the wing with Murray Tuolungi as well. Moving over to our centers, bro. There's a couple of ways they can go with this one. Where's your head at with their center pairing?
Yeah, look, I didn't really know which way the Cowboys would go with their centre pairings. I thought Laybutt was pretty good in the internationals over the weekend, over the break, sorry. But I mean, yourself has been telling me a lot that Valia will lock down one of those centre spots for sure. And then if he's going to get that spot, the other one for me has got to be Purdue. I think he's a talent. He's got speed to burn, and just give him as much time as possible to learn the game and really fill out into to NRL grade standards. And I'm sure he'll take it with both hands.
Yeah, agreed, brother. Agreed. Yeah, so from all I've heard, apparently Valia has locked down that right spot. The opposite side is up to, for me at the moment, Purdue and Labour. And that one I'm still kind of throwing up different ways. I think they're probably going to go Purdue to start the season, while Labour's still trying to get back of injury, maybe get some fitness under in the Q Cup, get some footy under him because he has to play football for probably a good year now. I don't remember if he played in the PNG I don't remember him playing in the PNG for the Pacific Championships. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I thought he did.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe it was his brother. He might have been his brother.
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, he's retired now too, which is pretty sad to see.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. Yeah, so he's still got a little bit of time. You know, obviously he hasn't played football in a little while, but that could go either way. To be honest, I really could see that. But Purdue's got a massive future in the NRL, and I'm really excited to see if he gets the opportunity there. And his cheapest chips on Supercoach, we'll definitely be talking about that tomorrow night as well. And guys, continue. Let me know in the chat too. As I said, my mic's still playing up a little bit. I do understand that. If it is going a little bit low, how are you sounding, bro? Is it sounding all right on your end?
Yeah, you sound completely fine to me, bro. So I'm not too sure what everybody else is hearing, but all your levels look fine on my screen, and you sound all sweet.
Yeah, no one in the chat saying anything at the moment about my levels and stuff. But guys, let us know in the chat. I do want to make sure I figure that out. Obviously, being live stream right now, it's tough to kind of figure all that out. But moving over to the half pairing, I think this one, well, the number 6 jersey is a layup. We're going Tommy Dearden.
Yes, correct.
And who's going to pair him, bro?
Yeah, well, I'm hearing Clifford might be out for round 1. So if Clifford's fit, I would be starting with Clifford. You know, just get the season off to a start where you've got somebody that's done NRL before, you know, played a few games. If Clifford's not fit, it looks like the rookie Duffy is going to have to go in. And I'm hearing a lot of good things about him anyway. So we'll see if he can do the job. I dare say even if he does wear 7 on his back, Tommy Dearden will probably do a lot of the steering around the park. Very experienced these days now, Tommy Dearden. Kills it at Origin, killing it for the Cowboys. So, you know, they're not going to miss too much if he puts on that 7 role, you know, if he puts on the captaincy role and steers them around the park.
Yeah, exactly right, brother. Exactly right. That's the way I'm looking at it. We're all wondering what's going on at the moment if Jake Clifford can get back to round number 1. So at the moment, I got Duffy in there right now. A ton of talent, you know, a ton of potential. Tom Duffy played amazing in Q Cup last year. A really good goal kicker, a really good in-play kicker as well, a long kicker. You know, I think he led the Q Cup for 40-20s as well last year, so he's got good accuracy behind his kicks. And there's a lot of good things that you heard about him. Apparently, I saw that Phil Gild a couple of years back saying that he's the best young half coming through development-wise, and he's someone to really watch out for. So he's got massive raps. We're probably yet to see if he can take over and be the halfback that the Cowboys have probably been hunting for a little while now. Obviously, Chad Townsend's done a great job there, but they need someone to move on to the future. Is that Clifford or is that Duffy? How confident are you on Clifford coming into the season too, bro? I know he had a really decent end to the season last year, I thought anyway, coming back from Super League. We saw potential out of him earlier on in his career, the Newcastle Knights year, where he started off like a house on fire and then he kind of fizzled out later on. Do you still see potential in Clifford, or do you think that he's a bit too inconsistent for you at the moment and they should look opposite ways?
He gives me Ash Taylor vibes, you know, has the ability, has shown the ability, just can't find the consistency. You know, he's on that borderline between cup level and NRL level, you know, and I can't, you know, I'm sitting here saying this off my bloody $20 chair, sitting at home in front of a laptop, but you know, like if we're gonna call a spade, you know, he hasn't quite fully shown that he's, you know, NRL level. You know, he's not up there with like the Clearys and stuff like that for obvious reasons. But you know, I just feel like he's still trying to find himself in the NRL. I wouldn't mind seeing him go to a different club, you know, where there's a bit more, you know, resources around, I guess you would call it, you know, like the Sydney clubs where you might get a bit more of different feel, you know, a bit more money at the Roosters, shit like that. You know, it goes a long way for somebody's game. But yeah, look, Clifford, I feel like he'll do a job. And as I said, I feel like whoever's going to be playing that other half role would kind of be playing the backseat role anyway. Tommy Dearden has got to be your main man that you're building your systems around, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed, bro. Agreed. I'm really excited to see what he could produce this year if Clifford can continue on, if he can grow into the player that a lot of people thought he was. I do think certain halfbacks like him, Ash Taylor, they kind of got burnt by the potential that got bestowed upon them. And it happens a lot. Like, as we just touched on, Tom Duffy, he's got a lot of potential behind him, and I'm sure a lot of people will be praising him and be hoping for it. And that's the thing, as a young halfback, people don't understand how long it actually takes in first grade to get to the level. Even when we're coming up juniors, right? The halfback is the toughest position on the field when you got to think about all the different things. You get your team around the park. You got to get a good kicking game behind you. For young halves to do that around grown men in first grade, where there's a lot more deeper systems, they're playing with obviously a lot more numbers. Like, they're very technical in the way they play their football these days. It burns a lot of young halfbacks, and it takes a while before they warm up into the competition. And I feel like, Clifford's like a prime example of that, of, a young half that had a lot of potential coming through the grade. Everyone in the Cowboys, when he first came up, was he's going to be the savior after, Jonathan Thurston and Michael Morgan. And unfortunately, with all that pressure, it crumbled. He had a moment in Newcastle where he fired, and then he crumbled again. Hopefully he can, regather himself and play a good career. But if not, they got Tom Duffy there, that they've got a lot of potential around him as well. Do you think that Tommy Dearden could pick up a little bit of the slack here too? Obviously, coming off the Kangaroos camp that he had, I think he has the ability to play a 7 type role and to help players like that to come into the grade. I think he's grown into that role now. He's been around the league for a little while now, the experience behind him, and as I said, the confidence that he's going to be playing with after Origin and international this year. Do you think that he's going to take a little bit more of a bigger role at the Cowboys now Chad Townsend's gone?
Yeah, 100%. I've been saying that he's the man that you'd give the reins to, and whoever's playing that 7 role, even though it's not your main man, your main man doesn't always wear 7. Well, they do, but they don't. You know what I mean? Like Dearden, whether he's in 7 or 6, he's got to be a main man. The numbers shouldn't mean anything. Dearden needs to be the main captain of this team, the main organizer of this team, and that other half is just kind of playing the second fiddle. It's like Luai to Nathan Cleary is what you got to really look at it with this. Dearden needs to be what you're conducting your game plan around. And yeah, you're right. Tommy Dearden's form in Queensland, in Australia, he's going to bring all that confidence back. And yeah, expect a pretty big year out of him. Whether he's playing 5'8" or halfback, expect him to be up there for position of the year for sure. Yeah, as you touched on, though, it's 100% the hardest position to play as half. Not only do you have to organise your team around, the opposition team wants to kill you. They're the main ones that they're targeting. They're running all their block plays on you. You've got to make decisions defensively. You've got their big boys trying to put pressure on you when you're taking the ball to the line. It's tough, man, and you're right. We've seen it a lot where young halves come through and they don't really find their straps until 27, 28 when they mature that little bit.
Exactly.
And it's a shame because the same thing happens with NFL quarterbacks. You see how much it takes for those guys to come through. It's not just straight out of college kill it. And that's exactly the pressure we put on our halves in the NRL, and it just doesn't work sometimes.
Well, it shows the pressure too. Like, I know a lot of people may not follow the NFL too deeply in that, but me following another team that I always seem to get burnt by following teams like this, but I follow the Carolina Panthers in the NFL, and they're my favorite team since I've seen a guy called Cam Newton. But now we've moved on from someone like Cam Newton that was an MVP quarterback and now we brought in Bryce Young, who, there's been a lot of hype over. He was a Heisman winner going through college. He came into the NFL, had an okay first season. He showed moments where everyone was like, he's going to step up this season. And then it was well documented that he got dropped this season to start. After a couple of poor games to start, and then he's looked like his confidence was all-time low. Fortunately, he came back later on, and after a little bit of time playing behind experience and stuff and learning the game a little bit more, he played a lot better towards the end of the season. But a lot of people, sports fans got to understand there's variables, right? Like Nathan Cleary is a variable. You don't see that a lot, a young halfback doing what he does. And even Cleary had a rocky road to start his career as well. I don't remember too many players that you just chuck them in there straight away and they just fly out of nowhere in that halfback role solely and just, take people to the promised land straight away and be that guy. I think it takes time, and it happens in all sports around the world. I think that's a big thing to talk about, especially in these big key positions like this.
Well, it's 100% right. They're coming up against guys that have been playing NRL for, 5, 10, sometimes longer. It's not just not playing, school footy where you're playing all guys the same age, or you're playing guys with all the same experience in New South Wales Cup. You're playing guys with from anywhere between 1 game experience to 300 games experience. Like it's a different beast, the NRL. It's the best of the best, and these guys are going to take time. They're not just going to crack it straight away, especially in the tough positions like halves. It's not like being a front rower on debut where you just catch the ball and run straight, or a winger where you just get to be on the back end of the brilliance. It's a lot more pressure for sure.
100%, brother, 100%. And while we're saying that, let's move over to the forward pack, which is going to be helping out these guys get around the park. Who's your starting front row pairing coming to the round number 1? I know there's a couple of injuries around, guys. Jason Taumalolo's under an injury cloud, so we don't know what's going on there. But who have you got to start out the season in the front row pairing?
Yeah, with JT being potentially injured, I'm going to start with Cohen Hess and Griffin Neame up front.
Yep, I like that. I went Jesse McLean and Griffin Neame as well. That was your pairing too, right? You just
No. Cohen Hess.
Cohen Hess, yeah, that's right. Sorry, I got mixed up with McLean and Cohen Hess. But your reasoning behind Cohen Hess, obviously coming back off injury, do you reckon he goes straight back into that starting role and that you don't prefer McLean to start out the game? Your thoughts?
Look, Cohen Hess has shown so much ability over the years. He can play bigger stints. I just like him starting. I feel like he's a guy that you really got to tell him what you expect from him, and he'll deliver it. And we've seen that. And then there's times where he kind of gets left to the side. I've seen him play games where he comes off the bench and he's just been a bit flat. I prefer to see him start. When he was starting in the back row a couple of years ago, the dude looked unstoppable. But now he's a bit bigger, a bit slower. I'm happy for him to start up front. But I don't know. I just really feel like he needs to set the tone. He's not so much a momentum player for me.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, so the reason why I went McLean is probably just to start out the game, around that period and just have an experienced body there. And obviously Griffin Neame is the one at the moment. I think that's going to propel himself into a starting role, which I think we both agreed on, right? Mm-hmm. But McLean, yeah, he's probably getting long to the 2, so I could see him maybe reverting to a bench role if they want to start a little bit more fresher. Cohen Hess, obviously been around the league for a while now. He's an experienced body now too. A decent sized body that gets through a ton of work. And your thoughts, obviously, him coming back from the injury of last year. Do you reckon that he'll come back the Cohen Hess that we thought, or what are your thoughts around Cohen Hess and his development in NRL? Because I know he blew up when we first saw him, but injuries have really hampered his career all the way through. He was an edge back rower, moved to the middle. Your thoughts on Cohen Hess?
Yeah, well, he started to find some consistency and then he just ran into a wall of injuries. So hopefully he continues on that upward trajectory of building that consistency, because he was looking very, very good there towards those, coming up to those injuries. Once he finally got a handle on his consistency, because when he bursted onto the scenes, dude was... He was insane. He was great. Yeah. And then it was just so inconsistent. 1 week it would be on, the next week it would be off. So, yeah, if he finds that consistency and continues to find that consistency after the injuries, he'll be all sweet.
Yeah, totally agree, bro. Totally agree. Moving over to the number 9 jersey, who's going to steer him around in the middle there? It's an obvious pick here.
Yeah, Reece Robson, man. No surprise there.
Yeah, your thoughts around, what do you think? I think Reece Robson is the type of player that's going to play amazing no matter what the situation is. But him moving on to the Roosters next year, how much does that hurt the Cowboys, this year and next year? Does this hurt maybe a little bit if they get a little bit of a losing streak? I know obviously Robson's going to play amazingly, but the unit in general, obviously this hurts to see a big player like him move on from the club.
Yeah, look, they're going to need to start trying to find a decent replacement, because that's going to be a big loss. They'll now have, young halves. Tommy Dearden should be another year experienced, and that will do him a world of good. But if you have no solid halfback with him and no hooker, him and Drinkwater will struggle to find some consistency. So you need a good 9 man. So hopefully they can find one coming through.
Yeah, hopefully. But moving over to our edge back rollers, bro, who are you pairing there?
Yeah, I went with Jeremiah Nene. And I went with John Bateman. Even though I don't like the Bateman signing, I don't know where else they play him.
Yeah, I think, as I said, the Bateman signing has now looked like a revelation because of Lukey going down. If Lukey was still there, fresh and ready to go, that signing just doesn't really make sense to me at all. Obviously as depth, but I don't see John Bateman being a depth signing. I see him being a signing that he wants to be the guy, right? It's always been Bateman. He gone to the Tigers, that whole situation, the Canberra Raiders, obviously in the past as well. I'm interested to see how that goes. Jeremiah Nenai, all rumors that he's moving over to the left edge now, from what I've heard. Your thoughts on that move? Like, obviously, he's going to pair it up with Tommy Dearden. I think attacking-wise, that sounds amazing on paper. Do you think that can become something? Or do you think that he wholly and solely, he's a right-side edge-back rower? Because we've seen him mainly, throughout my memory, I've never seen him on the left side, especially in first grade.
Yeah, look, I think it's smart, you know, especially when your other half pairing is going to be a bit unknown. You want your bigger strike weapon to be on your more dominant half side. So I can see what they've done there as an attacking point. Also defensively, I think Nanai's had some defensive issues. I feel like he's been a little bit lazy in defense as well at times, whereas like Tommy Dearden's very solid defensively. And if he's going to be having the captaincy role, which I think he will, expect him to be like spraying Nanai to be a better player in defense and show a lot more effort. So that's probably the thinking there. And I really like that thinking. It's going to be good for them defensively and in attack.
That's a good point. It's a really good point to think of. And it will probably, as you said, they could become a yin and yang, right? They could like help each other in multiple different areas. Like, you know, Tommy Dearden's got that guy outside of him that he can put that late pill on, and because of Nanai's late footwork that he can put on that beautiful line that he runs, and he can shift off that line very easily. It could open up things in attack, and in defense, as you said, Dearden covers so everywhere. Like, I think that's one of the most impressive thing about Dearden's game. He just never gives up. He's tenacious on defense, and if it rubs off there with Jeremiah Nenai, I think Nenai defensively, if you're running straight at him, we've seen him pull off shots. Like, he can hit boys, but it's just the reading of the defense at times. Sometimes he just like switches off.
Very poor.
I think Dearden does help in that area. I love your thought there too, brother.
And you can't say yin and yang without a white and a black guy, brother. It's just, you can't say that.
I didn't even think of it that way, brother. But obviously, this man.
We're about to be cancelled.
Yeah, well done, bro. We just started up. Moving over, brother, we got Ruben Cotter in that 13 role for me.
Yeah,
I don't see any change for you.
Yeah.
Bro, Ruben Cotter, he's a freak, right?
He's both engine room. You know, it's either him or Dearden that's captain for me. If you're building your team around one of those guys, man, you're laughing. If you build them from scratch, they're probably one of the two guys you want to grab straight away.
I was so sure that they named him as co-captaincy, but I don't know if that's fully confirmed from my memory. But
wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't surprise me either, right? Like, both incredible players. I'm pretty sure one of the two, or they both had captaincy last year anyway. So, bro, I think he's one of the NRL's favorite players too, right? I think he's like slowly growing. Like, I think every fan base loves Ruben Cotter, no matter, you know, if you're a rival or not. You can't, like, the effort that he plays with, you know, you'd love to have him in. I'd love to have him in the Warriors. You'd love to have him in the Dogs.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, if you're building a team tomorrow, as I said, those guys you'd be picking. They'll be one of your first 5 picks.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Moving over to our bench, bro. What's your 14, 15, 16, and 17?
Yeah, I went with Carl Lawton in the 14. You know, play a bit of back row, bit of lock, bit of hooker if need be. I went with Jordan McLean. I went with Harrison Edwards, and I went with Sam McIntyre.
Yeah, love it, bro. Love it. I went Carl Lawton, just that opportunity for him to jump on the field. We saw with the Manly Seagulls, he could play on an edge if he needs him to. He could play in that hooker role. He could play 13. He could do so many different things. I think he's their new age. The name's escaping me right now. Crazy hair. Played hooker with the Broncos early career. Now moved on to the Cowboys. He's just retired. Come on, Granville. That's exactly him. That's the one. It's a new age Jake Granville for me, and I think it's a perfect signing for the Cowboys. I think he's one of the more impressive signings I thought for them. I got Cohen Hare, McIntyre, bro. He's a freak. I'm excited to see more out of him than the Cowboys. And I went Thomas Michaela in that 7 jersey, but this one can go many different ways for me. As you said, you have Harrison Edwards there too. So that could go either way for me as well. So just waiting to see. Thomas Michaela's always been a guy with a ton of potential, even when he came through high school and that ton of potential. He just hasn't found a sturdy spot yet. So I think a lot of people are still waiting on that, right?
100%, you know, and I'm sure you'll find that, especially with, you know, JT getting that little bit longer in the tooth. You know, he'll probably learn a lot off him.
Agreed, brother. Agreed. Honorable mentions, obviously, guys. Jason Tamalolo out due to injury, so waiting on the news on him when he's going to return, if it's round 1 or not. Helam Lukey out for majority of the season. Tom Chester out for majority of the season. Jackson Purdue, we did speak about him a little bit before, or Kyle Lay, but Semi Valamai, Jake Clifford out with injury concern at the moment, may be returning by round 1. It's still yet to be seen. I've just heard a lot of news right now that obviously Tom Duffy is going to steal that role right now to start the season before Jake Clifford comes back off injury. Your thoughts on the squad overall? Any worries in that, and your predictions coming into 2025?
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about the depth and the experience these days. Yeah, for me, they're missing a lot now, losing Townsend, Holmes, what we've already touched on. I reckon a few injuries, especially if, unfortunately Tommy Dearden gets injured or selected into Origin. Take him, Cotter, Nanai, Robson, and Murray to Origin now. Like, they're not
That's
left
tough.
with a lot. Like, the Cowboys always struggle around Origin time, but I reckon this year will be more so than ever. So, yeah, I think they will struggle this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that, bro. That's the first note that I have here is injuries could really have the side out of whack. The big one is they're relying solely on Tom Dearden and Drinkwater this season with Reece Robson there. But if Dearden goes down, I see that spine completely, fumbling apart for me after the seasons that he's had. And as you said, him moving over to Origin, if he gets selected there, he'll probably be around a camp no matter
when
what.
When he gets selected there.
When he gets selected there, right? So yeah, this is probably where we're going to have the same sort of thought with the Cowboys, especially after inconsistent performances of last year. Does that continue? Can they steady the ship? Where do you put them in your ladder? Where you're thinking right now?
They are finishing 11th for me.
11th? Yeah, I've got them in my 10th role right now. They're in the team that's logjam for the 8, and at the moment they're the ones that fall out of the 8 for me that allows other teams in. Because as you said, I just think the injuries to the start of the season doesn't help them. They got to get through a season, be consistent, and unfortunately, I like Todd Payton as a coach. I think he's a good coach. I just think that I don't know, the Cowboys are just such an up and down side. It's a struggle to really put a place on them right now, right? For me, anyway.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, they were winning games last year, 42-36. Their defense is pretty dropped off these days. So if they were winning games, it's a high scoring game. Otherwise, they'll get blown away. So yeah, they've got a lot to work on for this season. They've got enough Origin stars, but it's just the holes around it where I think they're lacking a little bit.
Yeah, agreed, bro. Agreed. All right, enough with the Cowboys for 2025. Let's move over to the Cronulla Sharks, a team that brings a ton of hype into 2025, especially with their big signing, moving to the player movements, guys. Their gains, Adam Fanua-Blake from the New Zealand Warriors, and Hohepa Puru from the Canberra Raiders, the number 13 lock forward that plays, for the Canberra Raiders. Really talented player coming through the ranks as well. But Adam Fanua-Blake, obviously the massive gain for the Cronulla Sharks coming 2025. Losses in 2025, Dal Finucane retired last year, Samuel Healy moving to New Zealand Warriors, Royce Hunt over to the West Tigers, Tal Como going to the Newcastle Knights, and Jack Williams to the Parramatta Eels, who end up picking up a leadership role. So he's doing very well in the Parramatta Eels in the preseason. So what are your thoughts around their gains and losses, brother? What's the grade you're going to give these guys? Is Adam Fanua-Blake enough to move the needle for the
100%. Yeah, it's a big signing. It's kind of hard to say it's not when he's won, I think, 3 years in a row, Forward of the Year, or 2 years in a row, whatever it is. Yeah. It could definitely be what they need in the middle to tip over the
line. Whoa.
The line, yeah, tipped them over the line to raise that trophy, I guess you would say. They've been there, but not quite there the last few years. And this might be it, that last big piece that they needed.
Yeah, I think the biggest talking point around it is just I think the biggest question over the Sharkies for the last couple of years, and this probably sounds horrible for Sharkies fans to hear, but I've always heard the rumor around them is just a soft underbelly. When the Sharkies get into those big moments where they need to take the game and they need to do that. I think their biggest moment that they've had the last couple of years is beating the Cowboys. Obviously, their big finals game win that they had last year and moving on. But when they go up against the Penrith Panthers in a big moment, they seem to fall out of the pace. I think last year when they beat the Roosters was probably one of the biggest games during the season that they picked up. And we were at that game. That was a great game to cheer those guys on. But is Adam Finnall-Blake enough to bring the grind into that team, or like the heart into that team? Like, that's my biggest question. Is like, I think Ads is going to be incredible individually as a player. I think he's going to get through his means and that. But does he bring the steel? Does he bring the hard edge for the Cronulla Sharks to get him over the top of the Penrith Panthers, of the Melbourne Storm, that they have to beat to get to the grand final, right?
What I would be doing if I was Craig Fitzgibbon is I would be going up to AFB on the first training session of the season, and I'd be saying, if anybody touches or says anything about Nico Hines, you have my permission to drop them. And just fucking, that is it. You know, that's all I would need as a half to have all the confidence in the world, knowing that if anybody tries to dog shot you late or fuck with you mentally, that you've got this big scary motherfucker backing you straight away. And that, for me, would be enough confidence to take it to the next level.
Yeah, 100%. And we're saying that, brother, what's your grade on this move? I think that, obviously, with the big move, Adam Finnall-Blake, this has got to be an A for me, I think. I'm
going to say a B+, you know.
You going to go B?
Yeah, the only reason I'm going to go a B is because Ads has some moments in him where he's not great defensively. And that, to me, is a little bit of a lack to the Sharks. Whereas, like, they had Dale Finucane that was a killer in defense. He built his game around defense. So that's the only reason I'm not giving it an A. I hope he proves me wrong. He's looking a lot fitter this year, so he might have those efforts on defense as well. But yeah, losing Dale Finucane defensively hurts that little bit for me to not give them an A.
Yeah. I went an A because obviously the name carries weight at the moment. You know, it's been obviously heavily, you know, disputed who is the best prop in a game, and Adam Finnall-Blake's always been chucked up in there. And as you said, won back-to-back props of the years. I'm not too sure if he's won it 3 years in a row, but he's been around about there for a long time now. But again, yeah, as I said before, the big question around him, and I don't know, I don't want it to come off as a salty Warriors fan, right? Like, you know, of course, like, it sucks losing Adam Finnall-Blake. He's a massive player, all this and that, but like, the big thing with Adam Finnall-Blake was when the pressure turns on, like when the big moments, like, can he step up to the plate? And the Sharkies have always been known at the moment, obviously the whole talk around the Sharkies is they need to get over the hump. And the Penrith Panthers, they've smoked them every time they've come up against them. Can they get over that hump with Adam Finnall-Blake? Is he enough to get over that hump? You know, obviously Penrith come in a little bit more under strength this year, but is that enough, right? Adam Finnall-Blake, is that enough? That's the biggest question. And we'll probably talk about that more when we go for our team list, right? All right, moving over to the team list of 2025, round number 1. What we're thinking is going to be the team list here. Number 1, brother, who you got number 1?
Will Kennedy, man, so underrated.
What's your view on Will Kennedy? There's a lot of talk around Will Kennedy, is like his spot is up for grabs. I've heard a lot about that talk. I think he's a good player. I think he's a solid player that can get him around the park and do what he needs to do. Last year, I don't know if you want to chalk it up to maybe down on confidence or down. I think he had a couple of niggling injuries last season as well. Do you think he's good enough for being a premiership winning fullback in a competition, or at least get into a grand final?
With the 6, 7, and 9 they have, yes, no doubt. It's not up to Kennedy to come up with all their points. It's as simple as that. You don't see, you know, the Panthers turning to Dylan Edwards and saying, you've got to come up with all of our points when you've got Luai. You know, you had Luai, Appy, and Cleary there. It was never on Dylan Edwards. So why is it on Will Kennedy? It's not Will Kennedy's job to do that. He just does his stuff right, which 90% of the time Will Kennedy does. He's very consistent. He's very error-free. You know, he gets through his work. He always backs up the support plays with tries. Like, he's doing all the little things right, in my opinion. It's not him, the issue.
I agree. I'm 100% with you. And, like, you know, I understand they've got incredible depth in that position. Like, Cade Dykes coming for the grade looks great. Eason coming for the grades look really, really nice there. There's even, like, you know, Daniel Atkinson can play fullback if he needs to. There's a lot of players that can play in that position. But Will Kennedy is so consistent. Even if, like, he doesn't have those brain, you know, Reece Walsh type performances and all that. But what makes him special is he can be just that guy that consistently is going to do a great job no matter what. I don't remember seeing a really poor Will Kennedy game. There's always been games where it's just like, oh, he's been there and he's done a job. But I've never seen a game where I'm just like, Will Kennedy doesn't deserve to be out in that football field. To me, anyway.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I can't remember one either, brother.
Yeah, totally agree, bro. I think that he deserves that spot and deserves the opportunity to go through the season. to see how he goes. Moving over to the center, to the winger positions, brother. This one's locked in at the moment, but there is a guy probably chasing on the heels here. Who you got?
Nah, yeah, it's Ronaldo and Katoa. They're both underrated duo. The Sharks have there on the wings. Both great finishers. Both eat up the meters. It's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, they're my two at the moment too. Samuel Stone Street is obviously a guy that's building a lot of hype at the moment. Yeah, he's definitely someone to continue to watch for the future. But right now, Mulatalo's locked down to a deal. Katoa, hopefully the injury to Katoa. I haven't heard any rumor on the injury to Katoa in the preseason. He's resting this week. But, you know, if he is out, Sam Stone Street will probably get that role. But as soon as Katoa gets back off injury, I got Katoa back in that lineup.
Yep, you and me both, brother.
All right, bro. Moving over to the center pairing. I think this one's fairly easy as well.
Yeah, another underrated duo, Jesse Ramian, Iro. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, agreed, brother. Agreed. I like that pairing a lot. I love Jesse Ramian as a player. So definitely a good little center pairing. Moving over to the halves. I think this one's a lock as well.
Yeah, Trindle, Hines. Yeah.
What do you want to see from this halves pairing coming to the season?
Consistency.
Yeah?
Yeah, consistency and just their comms. I really want to see them work well together. I think last year the Sharks' success mostly came when one of them was off the field, and it was Hines and Atkinson, or it was Trindle and Atkinson. It wasn't Trindle and Hines together. But, you know, on paper, that's the best duo to go with. They just need to figure out how to get their comms right and do what's best for the team.
We've seen it work before in the All-Star game, like where it looked incredible in that Indigenous All-Star game. I think, honestly, just like one has to take a slight back seat, not too much to be like, you know, it negates their game, but one's got to take the slight back seat to end up, you know, kind of balancing themselves out with the other player there too. Out of the two there, like, do you see Trindle as just being that out-and-out halfback and Hines being a number 6? Would you think that, like, even though you're similar to me, like, you know, jersey number, I think it's just the way they play, is the way they're perceived as halfback and 5'8" overall. But do you see Hines being more predominantly as the 5'8" to the number, or do you still like Nico Hines at that number 7? Because I like Nico Hines, you know, first off the ruck getting around too, but where's your thoughts on that?
Well, he's got to be 7. He's won Daily M in his first year at 7. And he led it for most of the year last year until he had injuries and other off-field dramas. So in the 2-3 seasons he's played 7, he normally tallies up maximum points each game the Sharks win. So to me, that tells me he's the 7. With that said, Braden Trindle loves the ball in his hand first off the ruck as well. So you might be finding a case where neither of them want to take a back seat and they're both 7s and you can't play them together. A bit like Tamare Martin and Sean Johnson last year. So that's something the Sharks might need to look at, and it might need to be one or the other, and Atkinson. And maybe that's how you play it. You put Hines to fullback, but I don't like that move. He doesn't move quick enough or agile enough for me to play fullback.
Yeah, 100%. And like, you know, just thinking on that, like the way the Sharks love to play their football, I think the only way that could ever like work in a way where they can both play first receiver is playing very old school, traditional, like split the field in half. Hines has got one side, Trindle's got the other. But Hines' best part of his game is he flows so well from both sides of the field, and that I love how they play on that tram line and really open up to a like a 7-4 split or 7-3 split. And then he'll hit that short side late. I love how he uses his edge back rower. Like I've always resembled Nico Hines as like the point guard of the NRL. Like as a halfback, he likes to just dish off the ball, allow Britton Accorda to work with the ball, you know, Ramian on the outside of him, allow him to have a lot of space so he can do his job there, but he'll fill in the spaces there. Great support player as well. I enjoy him at number 7. I enjoy the way he plays number 7. But yeah, it's definitely the big question is just both of them got to get on the right page, and they've done it before. They just need to do it consistently for the Sharkies this season.
100%. And that just comes with the reps being on the field together at the same time.
Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. Moving over to the front row pairing, I think one guy's locked us down no matter what. The other one is going to be the interesting talking point. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with AFB for obvious reasons, and I'm going to go with Rudolph.
You going Toby Rudolph to start?
Yes, I am.
Not Oregon Kafusi?
No, not Oregon Kafusi.
Your thoughts on that?
Rudolph is defensively sound, and if you want to set the tone from the start of the game, AFB and Rudolph are the two that I'm starting the game with. You know, Rudolph is very consistent with his errors. Oregon Kaufusi has an error in him from time to time. If you start Oregon Kaufusi, he drops it on, you know, the first or second set. Your back's against the wall already. You know, you got AFB and Rudolph that will lay that platform, and then you got those guys coming off the bench that will just carry on that momentum that those two will create.
I love that mold that you're kind of playing with there of like, we spoke about this in predicted tournaments in the past, is having, you got that one impact front rower, you know, it's two different sized bodies right at different moments, where Toby Rudolph's more defensive long minute, like he'll be in the contest no matter what. I love that sort of thought. For me, I started off Adam Fanor-Blake and Oregon Kaufusi because I think that's just going to be the way they're going to run out there with. But unfortunately, like I will talk about it. I don't have Toby Rudolph in my lineup right now, and only because I don't know where Rudolph is with his rugby league currently. Like I can't remember him having a decent position in the squad towards the end of last year, from my memory. Anyway, I could be wrong there. And then obviously moving over to podcasting and stuff like that. I don't know if that's like a little inkling that he might not be in, like, you know, the full discussion for the top 17. I do think he's got the ability, if he is there, he's experienced, and as you said, a good defensive, you know, front rower that gets for a ton of work. But I'm just worried about, you know, the way Craig Fitzgibbon thinks of maybe the training part of him or something like that could hold him out. But I like where your head's at, obviously, with that pairing of an impact front rower and a long minute defensive player. I like where that's sort of that. I can see that really working.
Depending what Fitzgibbon does is one thing, but for me, if I was picking this squad, that's what I would go with.
Agreed. Do you think Hazelton has the ability to start up front too, or do you rather him off the bench being more of an impact play?
I like him off the bench. I think we've seen his best work off the bench last year, scoring tries.
Yeah, I like that too. Yep, sweet. Moving over to edge back roll. Oh, actually, number 9. I think this one's locked in, so we don't really touch on too much.
Brayley, brother. Blakey Brayley.
Great year last year, like underrated. Number 9, gets through a ton of work, 80-minute. He's obviously going to have he's going to improve, I do believe, with Adam Fanor-Blake next to him. I think that's going to be a really good partnership for him.
Yeah, look, I think he's been banging on the door for an Origin jersey for a while, and well deserving. I guess there's just always a lot of guys to choose from for that hooker role.
Yeah, Adam's quick playable speed, and like, you know, when if he finds his front, pokes his nose through the line, I think that just helps Brayley's game. Incredible. So I'm really excited to see him this year. Moving over to edge back rollers, we got for me, I got Teague Wilton and Britton Accorda. We got the same page.
Bang on, brother.
Yeah, totally agree. Hopefully Teague Wilton has an incredible year this year. I rate him highly. Britton Accorda, I love him, bro. He's incredible. I'd love to have him at the Warriors, but anyway, moving on. Moving over to that number 13 jersey, bro. Who you got?
Yeah, Cam McInnes, brother. Absolute
totally agree.
beast.
Absolute beast. You know, obviously losing Dale Finucane. This is the guy you're talking about, that Dale Finucane type player, right?
Yeah, same mold, just nothing but heart.
100%, bro. If they had like 13 Cam McInneses, I'm sure that's a dogfight, right?
Yeah, look, the other team wouldn't be scoring a point, so all you need to do is kick a field goal each game to win.
Yeah, mirrors would be broken all across the field too, bro, because that guy can look ugly at times, right?
Only one full set of teeth between all 13, you reckon?
Where's he carrying about half his teeth, brother?
In his front pocket.
Fucking oath, baby. Fucking oath. Moving over to our bench, bro. Who you got? Number 14, 15, 16, and 17.
Yeah, for me, it's Talakai, Hazelton, Ueli, and Kaufusi.
Yep, I'm fairly similar. I got Talakai, Hazelton, Heminuele, and I got Calhoun. Jesse Calhoun had a little bit of a part on the bench last year. I can see Toby Rudolph obviously being around there, as well as we discussed before. I don't have him there right now. Even Tapua as well, the young junior coming through. He's very talented, so he could get a spot there too. So they got a bit of depth in that position as well. I spoke to you obviously at gym today. We're talking about this. Do you think that Fitzgibbon goes away from the 4-forward bench coming this season? I know we both picked 4 forwards here. But with Daniel Atkinson having the season he had last year, do you see the opportunity there he getting 14 jersey?
Oh, potentially. I'm also seeing him as the 18th man. I think Talakai does so much for the team, and he's got the flexibility to play, you know, outside backs, back row, front row if you need him to. I'm sure he'll do the job. So I dare say he'll get the nod in that 14 jersey over Atkinson to start with. But I dare see Atkinson will be in that 18 jersey most time.
Yeah, 100% agree. Honorable mentions, guys, of names that we probably missed out here. Obviously, Cade Dykes, very close to getting first grade ready. He's an incredible player. You got Ison, you got Tapua, you got Jaden Beryl as well. We've obviously discussed this before. Him maybe getting a 14 jersey, possibly, but Blake Brayley plays the 80 minutes majority of the time. Hiroti, the Pudu brothers, you got Toby Rudolph, Daniel Atkinson, and Samuel Stonestreet for me. And there's even more to add on back of that. Just the depth that they have at the Cronulla Sharks, even with losing players like Royce Hunt, Jack Williams. I was looking at that first of all and going, maybe they've lost a little bit of depth. If like Adam Fanor-Blake like gets injured this season, like that hurts them, obviously, for me, you know. But at the end of the day, you still got, as I said, Tapua's a talented front row forward coming through. Toby Rudolph's out of my team. He could fit in there. I think they're in pretty good stead for this season to get around about that top 4 finish or a top 8 finish at least, maybe into a finals discussion. But with saying that, what's your prediction of this team? What's your thoughts coming to the season? Where are you placing the Sharkies?
Yeah, on paper, they're second. They're finishing second for me. And I dare say we'll see the Sharkies in the grand final is my prediction.
My only question to that, last year the Sharkies having a soft draw by the predictions of like the season that they had. Obviously, coming to the season, they have a little bit more of a tougher draw. Obviously, adding Adam Fanor-Blake is a big plus there too. So second, obviously, yeah. So Melbourne and all that, we're going to be touching on them a little bit later on, but they have the ability for you to go second and push further.
The Sharks.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be the top 4 favorites for me to take it out this year on paper. I think they'll finish top 4, and then I think they'll win that first week of the finals and be 1 game away from the big dance.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I've got him in my top 4 right now. They're sitting 4th. I had him in 4th or 3rd. But yeah, it's really it's a big season for the Cronulla Sharks. They've gone all in now by the looks of it. So now it's really up to them now, right? It's up to them to change the perception of the Cronulla Sharks and give them the hard edge and get over the top of the big sides like the Melbourne Storm, the Penrith Panthers. Those are the big questions over the Cronulla Sharks this season. All right, moving on. A lot of great chat going on in the chat, guys. Appreciate you all coming through. Joshua Hill, good to see you, brother. Thank you so much for coming through. Tahi, as always, killing it. Team Mackey, hopefully they have an outside back we can pinch. That would be great to see. And also Tahi agreeing with Brody there with the positioning. Sharks fall in upset to Bunnies in the second week of playoffs. Little prediction there from Timothy. Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting year of with the Cronulla Sharks coming to the season. Moving over to the Sydney Roosters for 2025, my brother. The player movements coming to the season. The gains for the Sydney Roosters. They have Toby Rodwell in 2028. And we got Chad Townsend from the North Queensland Cowboys. Obviously, the big move, Chad Townsend, right? 2025 losses. They got Kahu Kappa going to the New Zealand Warriors. They have Michael Jennings retiring. Luke Keary going to the Catlins Dragons. Joseph Manu to Rugby Union. But there's still a spot open for maybe him returning. There's a lot of rumor going on around about that. So we'll talk about that maybe a little bit more later on. Terrell May going to the West Tigers. Lewis Murphy going over to the Super League. Dylan Napa retiring. Suoli'i going to Rugby Union, Satili Tupanua going to the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, and Jared Warrior-Hargraves going to the Super League. That is a massive list of players moving on from the Roosters this season. So what is the grade that you're giving them, my brother?
It's an E, brother. If we can go lower, I would go lower. That's a terrible recruitment system.
They're got to be queuing up for a massive play in 2026. Obviously, Reece Robson comes over. As I said, rumor that Joey Manu will probably come back in this season because apparently he's not enjoying the whole Japanese lifestyle over there. But even then, they're still missing, Terrell May, whatever, Luke Keary, the experience, Suoli'i, Satili Tupanua, Jared Warrior-Hargraves, their alpha dog in the middle. That's a lot of outs, bro.
I think we're finally seeing a Roosters team that's under the cap, and I'm only going to still say just.
It's really on Trent Robinson this season, bro. If he can pull us out of his ass, that's really what it is. For me, I'm with you, bro. I'm going a D. If you got all these losses and Chad Townsend's the only guy coming in, especially with the injuries to some key members in the side, we'll touch on them more. It's a big out list there. It's a big out list. This really tests the Sydney Roosters as a full club, I believe, and Trent Robertson and his coaching ability. But yeah, moving over to the 2025 predicted team list. Round number 1. Who have you got at fullback?
Look, I struggle with their team. This is not going to lie with their injuries and their losses.
I agree.
I guess the one man that still matters is Teddy, and Teddy's the fullback. You know, he's fullback captain, still playing at the top of his game. So saving grace.
Bro, listening to the 8-hour Bloke in a Bar podcast, shouting a Bloke in a Bar doing an 8-hour season preview where they just knocked out all the teams. A really good question got chucked up there by Timmy Williams from memory. If Teddy goes down, and touch wood, he doesn't go down, what happens with the Roosters? Who steps up?
They're fucked.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing to think about, right?
Yeah, they're going to have to fucking scope the market for a trade instantly. And yeah, they'll be gone, man. They're barely filling center positions at the moment, let alone a key position like fullback.
T Mackie, we're not doing an 8-hour show, my brother. I'm really sorry. We don't have enough time to do that. We work. We work.
We broke.
Yeah, we broke. But no, that's a really good question. I thought I heard Timmy Williams saying it's something you think about, obviously, with the Roosters. This amount of losses that they had. You know, Suoli'i could have filled in that role. Joey Manu could have filled in that role. Obviously, as I said, Manu predicted maybe to come back mid-season. But if Teddy goes down and start the season, or if anything goes wrong there, he could catch a head knock, which he has done in the past. That's a tough predicament for the Roosters. And
we know the Roosters don't have juniors. Let's be real. We know the Roosters don't have juniors.
Roosters fans are going to hate you saying that too.
Roosters fans already hate me from Magic Round. I don't even watch that game. I just watch them cry in the crowd.
Shout out to those Roosters fans in the Roosters fans section.
Shout out Hainsey.
Yeah, shout out Hainsey. Moving over to the wingers, bro. This is pretty sturdy from last season as well, I believe.
Yeah. The wingers and the fullback roles is probably still saving them a little bit. So Dominic Young, Daniel Tupou.
Yeah, 100%. That's my pairing as well. Centre pairing, I'm going to go Billy Smith and Nwanga Tisawase. That's my pairing overall. I don't really, I was going to throw it to you, but I know Marky Mark's name's going to be a tough one for you.
Yeah, he's just going to be named Mark. So, but I had him or Billy Smith. I don't know if Billy Smith's over his injuries yet.
Yeah.
So if he's not, I was going to go with Punga.
Oh yeah, Junior Punga. Yep.
So.
Robert Toya has a lot of hype around him. But I had heard little rumors in the preseason that he hasn't been winning that over in that center position. So, but he's there as well. He's a talented player, played in the Maroons under 20s a couple of years ago. But yeah, I think that if Billy Smith's ready to go, fit and firing, and hopefully he stays healthy, because I think he's got a ton of potential, that kid. He's probably not a kid anymore, to be honest, anyway. So the amount of injuries that he's had, he's been around the rugby league for a little while now. That's true. Yeah. Moving over to the halves pairing, obviously the injuries to Sammy Walker and that. What did your halves pairing come into the season?
Sandon Smith and Chad Townsend, brother.
Totally agree. Goal kicking, Sandon Smith.
Flip of the coin. It's definitely not going to be Teddy.
We see Chad Townsend goal kick before too, and it's not the greatest thing in the world.
No, either, it's not. So yeah, they're already strapped for goal kicking as well. Like, I'm glad. It's good to see the Roosters struggle. Fuck them.
It's still a question, bro. Like, who knows if Trent Robertson can get his team firing? And as I heard, apparently, as I've heard with the Roosters, a ton of their buys are towards the start of the season, right? So there's an opportunity that they don't miss too many games. Yeah, they could be back and be firing, but the start of the season is going to be a tough slog. I'll say that. Yeah. Expect some bad calls to go, against any team playing them. Moving on to the front row pairing, bro. Who have you got starting up front? This is a good discussion, actually. Yeah, look, I don't like starting Spencer, but I'm going to have to. And Collins. Would you say, we'll talk about Nafahu White maybe a little bit more later on, but he's probably got an opportunity maybe there as well. But for me, I got the same pairing, Collins and Spencer Leniu. Do you think Leniu has the ability to step up in that starting front row role? Yeah, 100%. And I think if you're looking at him or White to be the ones to do it, I think Spencer's got the more upside at this point to be that starting man. Yeah, totally agree. That's my pairing as well. Number 9, who we got here?
Connor Watson.
Totally agree, brother. Moving on to the edge back rows.
Angus Crichton and Victor Radley.
Yeah, that's my 2 as well. Victor Radley, for you, sticks on that edge. I believe that same thing, but you think that too?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't surprise him if he goes back to lock until Sammy Walker comes back. But definitely when Sammy Walker's there, he's on an edge for me. Sammy Walker plays better when Victor Radley's out of his way, holding up the ball in the middle of the field. So, and better defensive-wise for him as well to have him on his edge.
Yeah, so he's not taking players' heads off in the middle as well. So
exactly.
I thought he played amazing on the edge as well last year. So I'm excited to see him there again if he does get that spot as well. Nafahu White's my number 13. Who's yours?
I went with Nat Butcher to start.
I like that, actually. I think Nat's got a lot of ability. Yeah, I still go with Nafahu White. Obviously, the Kiwis game at the end of the year, he really impressed me there. But your thoughts on Nafahu? Do you reckon he's not going to be there just to start this year?
No, I just really like him off the bench. It's a bit like Terrell May. Like, I really like the impact off the bench, and that's just as important as a good start these days is the impact that's off the bench. So for me, I really like him off the bench at this point. But that will probably change a little bit for sure, especially when you see like Brendan Smith come back and everything like that. But yeah, for now, I'm happy with him starting off the bench.
Yeah, moving over to your bench, brother. Who's your 14, 15, 16, and 17?
Yeah, so like I said, it was a bit of a struggle, but I went with Egan Butcher, White, Wong, and I went with Blake Steep to get a crack.
Yeah, I love Blake Steep. I have Nat Butcher, Wong, Egan Butcher, and for me, the last one's either Xavier Vata or Blake Steep, whoever wins that role. I have a strong suspicion that very similar to what happened with Ruben Cotter with the Indigenous All-Stars, Josh Kerr early in his career with the Indigenous All-Stars. If he has a blinder Indigenous All-Stars, I think he probably gets a bench spot for the Roosters this season.
I can see that.
He's a very talented player. I've heard a lot of massive things around him, so very excited to see him in the Indigenous All-Star game. He's definitely a big circle. Same with Xavier Vata. I think he's been a missing soul for a lot of the guys that watch juniors. He came through the juniors. He has a ton of hype behind him. He was in the Maroons under-20s a couple of years ago as well. His younger brother was also in the Maroons under-30s. He's an incredible player as well. A long-minute big forward. He's definitely a guy to continue to watch out for. So in that sort of realm, they've got opportunities there. But again, yeah, it's just such a different Roosters team from what we're so used to, right?
100%. Normally it's stacked from top to bottom. This year, you're trying to plug some holes. You mightn't quite know the names of some of the guys, and it's just not your typical Roosters outfit at the moment. As I said, they look like they're under the cap for once.
Yeah. Other names, notable names to talk about here. We got Seleki Foketi, Junior Paunga as well. Probably missed out on a lot of our sides here. Obviously, Brandon Smith and Sammy Walker are out due to injury, which is a sad state. Obviously, Robert Toya missed out on both our sides, but he's definitely fighting for a jersey as well. And as I did touch on, we got Xavier Vata and his younger brother that is a very, very talented junior as well. Your thoughts around the Roosters coming to the season, my bro? Where do you sit them on the ladder for you?
Yeah, they dropped for me. They still make the 8. Just, it's the Roosters. A lot's going to go their way. They're going to get a helping hand. So they'll still scrap in the 8, but I'm going to put them at 7th.
For me, yeah, they're one of the teams that are in a log jam for the 8 right now. Right now, I've actually got them fairly low. I've got them in 10th right now.
Okay.
But I could definitely see things going their way too and being in the 8. Just always happens with the Roosters. So, but yeah, as we touched on before, it's all on Trent Robinson now to get this team to come together, and it's going to be an interesting little watch for the Roosters this season. I could see it going okay, but I could also see them having a lot of troubles and falling off a cliff like they did a couple of years ago when they struggled to make the 8. They had a late push due to a lot of players, coming back into form late to the end of the season. I don't know if they can do exactly the same thing without a lot of their experienced members, that they had before. So.
Yeah, they're not a team that, for me, will put 50 on anybody this year. Whereas, like, last year, it was like, fuck, how much are the Roosters going to put on this team? So that's the big change for me straight away, just looking at them on paper.
Yeah, and any injuries, it's a real trouble for them this season. So very interesting. Thank you, Tahi, for continuing to let me know. Everything sounds good. Make sure you continue to let me know as well. As I said, my mic's playing up at the moment. I'm not too sure what's going on, but I think my levels look okay right now. We're just continuing to move on. Obviously, a live stream, guys. We do apologize. Moving on to the Penrith Panthers 2025. Going to be a massive year for the Penrith Panthers. Obviously, the notable gains for the Penrith Panthers 2025. We got Isaiah Papali'i coming over from the West Tigers, and we got Blaze Talangi coming over from the Parramatta Eels. Two decent little pickups there, but they have had a decent amount of losses this season. Jet Cleary going to the New Zealand Warriors. James Fisher-Harris going to the New Zealand Warriors. Isaiah Iongi going to the Parramatta Eels. They got Jerome Luai going to the West Tigers. They got Taylor May released. We got Tyrone Peachy retired, and Sania Turuva going to the West Tigers. So a decent list of losses here, 2025. Your thoughts on the gains and losses, bro? What do you rank them there? What's your grade?
Yeah, it's a D for me. That's some big losses. That's a lot of depth. All premiership winners, multiple premiership winners. The guys that they're losing, and they're gaining, two guys. Papali's found some form here and there, and then a rookie. Other than that, and it's going to happen. When you're winning 3 in a row, you're going to have to lose some of your good players. But that's a lot. Yep. That's a big blow on 1 year. That's a really big blow.
See, I went a C- because I'm just looking at more probably the potential of this. Obviously Fisher-Harris leaving is a massive hole. Luai leaving, a massive hole. Potential of Isaiah Papali'i finding form and helping him kind of regather a little bit of that. Yeah. Blaze Talangi would probably have to really blow everyone's socks off to kind of a little bit of help there with Nathan Cleary. But yeah, I completely agree as in the fact of the losses that they have, they're overweight. And when we talk about these grades, guys, it's not grading the Penrith Panthers. We're grading them on the gains and losses as well. They've had incredible years. We know they can cover for it, but we're talking about some incomings coming from other sides. And as I said, the only way I'll look at it is Isaiah Papali'i is a Kiwi edge back rower from past. He has an opportunity to get better. Obviously, he didn't have the best season last year. And then we got a rookie in Blaze Talangi, a second-year player. Obviously, overall, he's got to step up to the plate of the Penrith Panthers. So definitely a little bit of a worry there, but it's the Penrith Panthers, as we say before, right?
Yeah, look, their systems will drag these guys up to be great players. I'm sure they will. And they've still got a killer junior system to come through as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I had to preface this, because I didn't want people to think that degrading, they're going to fall off completely. We're going to touch on our predictions.
Not at all.
Not at all. It's more of the fact of when we're talking about gains and losses, when they're losing Fisher-Harris and Jerome Luai, Sania Turuva, players like that, and they're filling in with Blaze Talangi and Isaiah Papali'i, it does outweigh, right? It really does.
Yeah, I would have gave him a D for the last 3 or 4 years, losing Burton, losing Coruscant, losing Kickout, and they've still won. So it doesn't mean that they're going to do shit this year.
Nah. And that's a preface for all the teams that we talk about too today, guys, for this whole prediction series as well. The Penrith Panthers for 2025, the round 1 lineup prediction. Who have you got fullback? I think this one's one of the easiest teams to predict this year.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. For me, it's Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, Dylan Edwards for sure. Moving over to the wing pairing.
Ryan So'o and Casey McLean.
Yeah, same. Do you think there's an opportunity maybe his brother Jesse maybe takes over him because he's been in the system for a little bit longer? Or do you think the Kiwis' performance of Casey McLean, his name's been brought up in lights now. I think that he probably has the upper leg right now.
Yeah, just the trial on the weekend alone sealed it for me. He ran for over 160 meters. Absolutely blew his brother away. So
he's a beast, bro. He's in for a really good season as well. Pairing those boys up in the centers here. Who have you got?
Yeah, grand final centers in Sungo and Alamonte.
How great has Alamonte been for Penrith Panthers?
Just keep bringing it up, bro. Just keep bringing it up.
Continuing on. This is all right. You stole a lot of their players, mate. You're fine.
Yeah, look, I'll take Critter. So
all day, baby. Moving over to the halves pairing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Blaze. I do have my doubts. If he doesn't do any good there, it's Dane Laurie for me. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Blaze and Nathan Cleary.
Yep, I've got Blaze and Nathan Cleary, and I completely agree with you. I think attacking-wise, he'll be fine. It's defensively, I think a lot of people are really watching with Blaze Talangi coming into the season. If he clicks and he goes well, as I said, I think it's a really great pairing. If he defensively is going to be a spot, and like, you know, I think the Panthers will probably fill that role fairly quickly. You said Dane Laurie. There's other guys like obviously Jack Cole that's played there in the past as well. He's got a lot of potential. You got Brad Schneider. I don't really like Brad Schneider in the 6 next to Nathan Cleary, but there's an option there as well. And as you said, Dane Laurie is definitely a great option. That's played amazing football for the Penrith Panthers, I believe, as well.
Options. Plenty of options.
Yeah, great options there, brother. Great options. Moving over to the front row pairing, bro. Who have you got pairing up with Moses Leota this season?
Yeah, I went with Moses Leota and I went with Papali'i.
You went Papali'i in the front row?
Yes, I did.
Your thoughts on that? Because I have Lindsay Smith in the front row right now, only because obviously coming off the Australian thing, but I can see an opportunity for other players getting that spot. Who do you got? Like, why?
Yeah. I love the Lindsay Smith shout. I do. Yeah, I think that's a good one. I didn't really think of that. I just kind of left him on the bench, continuing on from where he's played. But I do see him starting. I could see that. But for Papali'i, for me, he's not going to get an edge row these days. For me, especially in the Panthers. Well, maybe not to start anyway. Maybe you potentially start him up front, and then you can, you know, bring off Sorensen and push Papali'i to an edge. But yeah, for me, I don't know, just the experience, simplify his role. You know, try and build him up to be like Fish. Bring that aggression. You know, he played a bit of lock last year for the Tigers, and he got through a fair bit of work. So, you know, front row is pretty much the same thing as lock these days if you're not a ball playing 13. So, yeah, that's why my thinking behind it. You know, good play the ball, you know, quick line speed, that sort of thing.
You're not wrong thinking it at all. Like, you know, coming to the season, Isaiah Papali'i, as I continue to say, he's a Kiwi representative. He's showed potential of being a really good forward in general. Like, not only edge back rower, but in times he has been a good middle forward in times where I've seen him there as well. Like, there could be an opportunity there for the middle there as well. I went with Lindsay Smith, obviously going off of the Australian, you know, what the season he had last year. You also got Liam Henry, that's in around there too. That probably resembles more of the Fisher Harris type. He's not Fisher Harris, guys. I'm not saying that, but he resembles a little bit more of that than Lindsay Smith for me. But like, again, we're going off that, like, Leota's probably going to be more of your barnstorming and especially defensive, like front rower and that. Going to play for 20, where Lindsay could probably play for a little bit longer minutes and more consistent type front rower forward, right?
Yes, I agree. I completely agree.
Number 9, anyway. I think this one's a lock and load.
Yeah, Mitch Kenny, brother. So underrated.
Beast. 100%, bro. 100%. Do you, obviously, the Blues number 9 jersey, there's a couple of names obviously already on that. But would you love to see him around that Blues camp anyway?
Yeah, but there's guys in front of him for good reasons as well.
I definitely see that. Moving over to edge back rollers, bro. Who have you got lock and loaded?
Yeah, Scott Sorensen, Liam Martin.
Yeah, they're my 2 to start the season. I will talk about Isaiah Papali'i a little bit later on for me, but I think they'll start the season with those 2, and they'll probably build into the season with maybe Isaiah Papali'i, or maybe not. Maybe, as you said, Isaiah Papali'i becomes a middle forward. So it's still up in the air, his position in the team. At the moment, Scott Sorensen and Liam Martin are premiership winning edge back rower pairing. I still see that right now.
Yeah, then just so defensively sound, those 2. They do a lot for their halves.
And that's a good thing to think about too, with Blaise Talangi being probably more next to Scott Sorensen that knows the system. He's been in there for a lot longer than Isaiah Papali'i. You pair up Isaiah Papali'i and obviously Blaise Talangi, you got 2 new guys to your system that are got to learn the defensive movements and stuff like that. It's a good thought to have Scott Sorensen outside of him, right?
I agree. I definitely think you start with that. You know, let Blaise get comfortable with the system before doing any rash changes.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Moving over to one of the other big lock and loads for the season, number 13.
Yeah, no brainer, brother. It's Yo.
Yeah, beast out there in number 13. Moving over to your bench, bro. Who you got on the bench this season for the Penrith Panthers?
Yeah, my starting bench is going to be Sonny Luke, Lindsay Smith, Liam Henry, and Tommy Eisenhuth.
You reckon Sonny could fight back into a jersey there?
Yeah, I think so. Especially just early days, early days where, Mitch Kenny probably doesn't have as much match fitness under him yet. Have that option on the bench just in case. Once, Mitch Kenny gets that match fitness under him, you could probably move to another guy that might only have to play hooker, definitely probably has to play some hooker.
And out of all this team, I think this is one of the other areas where I think is the biggest talking point for the Panthers coming into the season is who they may be looking at running for that number 14. Like, for me, I got Trent Tallell. He played in the trials of the weekend. He had a little bit of a role towards the end of last year. He's a young junior. He can play multiple different positions. When we saw him in the trial, he played off the in the middle, and he was a link man, number 13. He has the ability to do so. He has played number 7 in the in New South Wales Cup and that as well. But like I've seen him used as more of a utility type of player that can fill in many different roles. You got Dane Laurie you can chuck there as well. Like there's so many different ways you go. Sonny Luke can go there. Luke Summerton. I think that's a role that's definitely up for grabs for the Penrith Panthers. To finish off my bench, I got Liam Henry, Luke Garner, and Isaiah Papali'i. Because as I said, I think that Isaiah will probably take a little bit of time before we find a role for him at the Penrith Panthers. Because I think Ivan Cleary will ease him in. But I'm sure once he gets in there, he's going to get there like duck to water. And the Kiwis are going to really love him at the end of the season after a season with the Penrith Panthers, I think.
Yeah, I think so too, brother. He'll be definitely putting his hand up for that.
He already looks fit to me. Like watching him in the trials, like I know he didn't have like the big like blowout game everyone was expecting in trials, but trials are trials, guys. This is what I continue to say. But his body, like he looked fit coming to the season, so I'm sure he's going to be a beast.
Hopefully he can bring that Parramatta form back.
Yeah, I think we're all hoping that, especially Supercoach fans. If anyone's got him in Supercoach as well, it's definitely a big watch this season, right?
100%.
Other names, obviously, to talk about. We got Matt Eisenhuth, Brad Snyder, Dane Laurie, Asu Kapoa, Jack Cole, a whole lot of other names that are in the Penrith Panthers system. And any one of their juniors that step up into these roles, they're incredible. Jesse McLean's of the world. Guys, like, yeah, it's the Penrith Panthers. They're full of depth. They haven't got to worry about that in that area, even though that is lacking a little bit more from seasons past. It's still like an incredible system.
It's just next man up.
It really is, bro. It's an incredible organization. Your thoughts coming to the season? Where do you place them right now? Is there any worries on the Penrith Panthers for you this season?
If Cleary stays injured for a lot longer, again, you know, Luai did a lot of heavy lifting last year, and I feel like he was potentially snubbed out of a halves Daily M position of the year, or did he get 5'8"?
Yeah, 6. No, I don't think he did. I think Dearden got 6 of the year, didn't he?
Yeah,
no,
so yeah.
Dearden,
So I think he was snubbed. So yeah, if they have the same issues again with Cleary dealing with injuries, I do see them struggling a lot more this year because of that.
Yeah, that's definitely a big question over the Penrith Panthers. But with saying that, if everything goes well, where do you think they're going to sit this season? Yeah,
I'm going to put them third. I think the Storm and the Sharks finished above them.
See, I've got them second still, but I'm open to the discussion of the Sharkies being able to do that, and also, you know, other sides that are trying to fight for that top 4. But there's still a top 4 team for you this season for sure.
Yeah, definitely. They won't drop far, if at all.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, bro. I think they're one of the easiest predictions you can do this year. But it's still obviously the big question coming to the season is, are the Panthers going to continue being the Penrith Panthers, or do they have a little bit of a slump?
No slump.
No slump. They are incredible, right?
I
don't remember being too many other teams ever being like this other than Melbourne, right? Melbourne's always been a side that you just be like lock and load top 8, no matter what, they're going to be there. These guys are lock and load top 4, no matter what, they're going to be there. That's
exactly.
a big fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly right, brother. And then unless you go back to the Dragons that won whatever it was in a row back when.
Yeah, when footy was a whole different type of game.
Exactly.
All right, brother, moving over to what a lot of people obviously saying the biggest premiership threats for this season. The Melbourne Storm, our last team, guys, for our predictions into 2025. The gains for the Melbourne Storm coming to the season, Moses Leo coming over from the Kiwis Rugby 7 side, and Stefano Otikamanu coming over from the West Tigers. Their losses coming to the season, Chris Lewis is retired, Aaron Penne goes over to the Super League, Remus Smith, young Tonuapea retiring as well, and Christian Welsh just recently retiring as well. Remus Smith leaving is another one that, like, it's a sad one to see because I thought he played fairly well for them. But now, obviously, Jack Howarth and all that stepping up, it's probably the perfect time to do so. So, your thoughts on their gains and losses, bro? Obviously, didn't bring in too many. Obviously, Stefano Otikamanu is a big name. But with their losses too, what's your thoughts there?
With their losses, yeah, look, a lot of experience, as we've already touched on Christian Welsh. You know, Remus Smith and young Tonuapea, that's okay to let those guys go. But yeah, big engine room player for sure. that already makes up for losing Christian Welsh. And Leo, I really like that kid. Watching him in the Olympics and the rugby sevens for the All Blacks, killer, bro. I could almost squeeze him in to my team straight away for Melbourne, but they got a lot of good guys that would have to miss out as well. So, but expect to see him play a few games this year.
From all rumors, he's killing preseason too, brother. So he's a guy that could definitely push Meaney or Howarth in a centre role or even a wing role if there's any injury worries. Xavier Coates coming into the season with injury worries. So
yeah,
who knows, right? Who
knows?
Look,
you're going to try and find somewhere for him. You know, Sean Bloor will even need to be on his game because he's a big body. So centre, second rower, he's coming for your position.
Great comment here from Team Mackie. Storm freed up 400K with Welch's retirement. So if that's 100% true, the Storm have still got money to get out in the market as well. And they look fucking strong even coming into the season. So yeah, that's a crazy thought. But your grade, Stefano, does he move the needle for you? What's your grade there?
Nah, it's going to be an average grade for me. The Welsh one probably takes that down to about a C. I did have them about a C plus, B minus. But yeah, you're now losing Welsh now as well. It's a bit of a loss.
I went a B. I think Stefano's a great pickup, as in like I think they've been looking for an impact forward. Yeah, that's the only thing is why it's not an A for me. Obviously, he's still not proven, but I can understand the C as well to the fact of they're losing someone as experienced as Christian Welsh that would help Stefano.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're a new player like Stefano coming over to the club, obviously you want to learn all the leadership qualities, which you'll still learn in general overall. But, you know, when you have Christian Welsh around the club, that's been around the club for a while, footy IQ, like, he helps him a ton as well. So I definitely see that as well. But yeah, I think he's the one move that, and plus they keep a lot of players from last year that everyone's like, this is a premiership sort of side at the moment too. So that's kind of what swayed me more so as well, right? But he is unproven.
Yeah. So let's hope he can just prove himself. It's a system to do it. There's no excuses.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. If you can't like kick it in this system, like he can kick the road, right? Like
simple as that.
Really, really. Moving into our 2025 predicted team list for the season for round number 1. Fullback. I think this is all lock and load right now. Pappy.
Yeah. It's Pappy.
Sure, Farlongo is going to be pushing him a little bit if there's any injuries.
Only if there's injuries, brother.
Yeah, completely agree.
Only if there's injuries.
I'm praying he gets back to goal kicking for like Supercoach. I reckon that would be great. He's like 500K on Supercoach. So
yeah, I just hope he doesn't get injured. He deserves an injury-free season.
I think we all agree there, bro, for sure. Moving over to the wing pairing coming to the season.
Yeah, Coates, Warbrick, Killers, boom.
Yeah, they're my pairing right now. I thought I heard a rumor of Xavier Coates maybe having a little bit of a niggle coming to the season, but hopefully he's doing okay. I think I've heard that. That's not 100%, guys. I'm pretty sure I've just seen that around the traps. But if he's fit and ready to go, he's one of the most damaging wingers in the competition. So
yeah, it's just reliable, bro. Defensively, finishing tries, meters, anything really.
You don't need to say finishing tries anymore.
Yeah. Flashbacks to them.
Oh, I hate it, brother. I hate it. Moving over to the center pairing, bro. Who have you got there?
I went with Jack Howarth. He's the lock for me. And then it's Nick Meaney for now, but Grant Anderson and Leo, bro, are coming for one of those positions. And I rate Grant Anderson, but there's Leo kid, bro, I'm telling you. So flip a coin, but Meaney will get the nod for me to start.
Yeah, I'm going the safe play with you as well with Meaney and Howarth, but I completely agree. As I said, like all rumors is Leo's hit the ground running. He's an X-factor type player. And if anyone can turn that into a reliable player as well, it's Craig Bellamy. So like just watch out because he did it with Warbrick as well. He's going to do wonders with this kid too. So it's scary.
Grab him on Supercoach if you can.
Yeah, he could be a good little play for the future. Moving over to halves pairing, obviously Munster is coming back off. He had hip surgery in the offseason as well. Paired that up with the groin injury that he had last year. He's still chasing down that round 1, number 6. So I've got him there at the moment. Do you still have him there?
Yeah, look, if he's playing, it's Munster. If he's not playing, it's Wishart. But we're going to say he's playing because there's been no rumors that he's ruled out. So Munster and Hughes.
Yeah, that's 100% it, bro. That's 100% it. Moving over to the front row pairing, bro.
Stefano and Josh King are my starters.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Stefano maybe comes off the bench for the first game of the season or early with Kamikamitha, but I'm with you there. My first pairing is Otukamanu and Josh King. I'm just thinking of Craig Bellamy, what he might do. I think he has the ability to maybe go Kamikamitha, Josh King, and Otukamanu off the bench, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Harry Grant for number 9 for you.
No brainer, brother.
No brainer at all. Edge back rollers. I think this is a no brainer as well.
Yeah, look, it is, but again, bro, I'm gonna keep riding this guy's dick. It's that Leo, bro. He's coming, and it wouldn't surprise me if he, could knock Blore off. Blore was good last year. Don't get me wrong, and he will get the nod to start with, in my opinion, and I think he deserves it. But he's got to watch his back, But yeah, Katoa and Blore to start the season, but Leo knocking on the door.
Yeah, even if Leo gets a center role, which is what I heard is more likely that he's looking at that one. Jack Howard's played edge back roller as well, and he has a ton of potential there too. So there's an opportunity there as well. Joe Chan's still around the traps there, but I think he's a little bit behind Sean Blore. At the moment, I still got Sean Blore and Katoa, but yeah, agree. If there's anyone knocking on the door, Sean Blore's spot definitely is the only one to look at. I think he's in for a good season though, and he might be a good little plug and play for Supercoach as well. I do understand, I think Katoa's side's going to get more the lion's share of the ball, but Blore is more likely type to have the offload in his game from what I've seen with the Melbourne Storm, especially around that side. The play they have for Papi that they ran against us to start the season off Blore, damaging, bro. So damaging.
I think you'll see the balance even up a little bit compared to Katoa getting all the ball that he got last year, because Munster will be back there a lot more active.
Agreed.
You know how Munster is with the ball. He dominates that ball possession as well. So you'll see that Blore get a lot more opportunity this year with Munster.
Yeah, that's a good thought as well. And I just love the way that Melbourne reinvent themselves every season with certain plays and stuff. And as I said, start the season last year, they caught us by surprise, running very similar to what the Dragons actually ran last year with their 2 edge back rollers. They just hit them on that early ball, and they turn back under, and then that little pop-off pass to Ryan Papenhuyzen hitting that beautiful line back on the inside. And Papi, he's just speed, bro. So expect more of that coming into the season. Speed kills, bro. Speed kills. Number 13 for you?
Trent Liero.
Yeah, agreed. Amazing season last year after, I didn't expect him to get an Origin spot, but now looking at him towards the end of the season, I'm like, I understand it now.
Yeah, if you asked me 2023, if I thought this dude was a solid player, there was a fair bit of hype around him, I would have said no. And then seeing how he started the season last year and how well he came back from that preseason after, cracking NRL, dude looked unreal. And I called it from the start of the year. I was like, this dude's Queensland potential now. And he actually got the nod for camp, and I couldn't fault it. He played so much better than the likes of Horsburgh and those other guys that did have that Queensland spot the year before. So, yeah, shout out to him. He went away. He took that first crack at first grade in 2023 and must have trained the house down on that preseason coming into last season, because he looked good. And I'm sure we'll see him build on that again. So
I'm with you, bro. I was in the same boat. I didn't see the Origin potential this year of him though, which you did call out. I was more like when I saw him move to 13, I was like, I don't understand it. I really don't. But bro, he's stepped up in that role and he's taken it. He's looked unreal, and he's just that classic LME type player. He's a hard worker. Do your job, bro. And they're the best players. It's really what makes football. Football is a simple game if you really want to break it down that way. You just got to work hard, work tirelessly with the defenders inside you, and he does it really, really well. Moving over to our bench roles here, brother. We got 14, 15, 16, 17. Who have you got filling those spots?
Yeah, for now it's Wishart, Big Nelson, Tui Kamikamifa, and Alec McDonald.
Yeah, yep. See, me, I went Wishart, Nas, Kamikamitha, and I went Lazarus Va'alepu.
You're leaving out Alec McDonald.
I'm leaving out Alec McDonald right now, but
I don't like it.
There still.
I don't
you
like
don't like it.
No.
I thought Lazarus has shown a lot of good things towards the end of the season, and out of the two, I think potential-wise, he's definitely the higher potential. If you're going to ask me Craig Bellamy's favorite, I'd say Alec McDonald. But if you want to say potential-wise, I think Lazarus has got a little bit more.
Yeah, but potential-wise and what's already been shown, I think McDonald's shown enough last year to keep a spot.
Agreed. I think that if we're looking for the future, obviously with him, because I'm sure that Alec McDonald will find his way into the side due to injuries and stuff like that. And let's say, you know, Otikamanu doesn't step up and stuff. There's opportunities there, but I really like Va'alepu, bro, and I'm really excited to see what he can do this season. Again, another year and in that system as well. He's grew up through that system now. You know, and again, it's crazy to leave out Alec McDonald. I understand that he's a hard worker and he's a Craig Bellamy favorite.
I would almost leave out Nelson before him. I would almost leave out.
I know, but I just can't see him leaving out Nelson either. Like, just to have that strike off the bench. I think the way they're going to run into the season, especially with someone like Otukamanu, is I feel like they're going to have another player like a Va'alepu that's going to be a really good change player to keep momentum through the middle with Harry Grant. But yeah, yeah.
Fair. I guess, look, it just shows how stacked they are. You got to leave out guys like Grant Anderson and Nick Meaney or Leo and McDonald. Like, or Tui, you know, you got to leave somebody out, and it just proves how stacked they are this season.
Well, as saying that, bro, as I said, honorable mention, we have Alec McDonald that I left out here. You got Jonah Pezzett that's still sitting there in the wings. You got Bronson Garlick there as well. Like, obviously, you know, Wishard's taken over both Jonah Pezzett's role and Bronson Garlick's role, because if there's any halves going down, Wishard's going to fill that role. Yeah. If like Harry Grant goes down, Wishart's going to fill that role. So
no, he'll fill any role 1 to 17. That's Wishart.
It's crazy. It's crazy, right? Like, their depth is unreal. Like, in that position, they've still got players like around the traps. Like, you know, I'm not sure what's going on with Marion Seve, but he's still around the traps, I'm sure. You know, Dean Iramira, like, yeah, Suafa Longo, like, bro, like, this team is like Joe Chan as well.
Yeah, like, yeah, as sad as it is, Christian Welsh retiring is probably the best thing for him. Like, not that he wasn't offering them anything, but like, you're just creating space for these guys to get more time.
As I said to you before, bro, like, you know, if it is true that he's freed up 400K cash, that's a decent amount of sum that they can go back in the market again and find another player to add with this depth that they have here. I'm sure they don't want to.
Yeah, I think it just frees up for them to keep the talent they've got. And that's what I would more so look at instead of trying to sign somebody else. Like, that the system they got and the players they've got, they just need to hold on to them now.
Yeah, that's a great thought too as well, bro. Especially, you know, Papi's on a 1-year deal now. I'm pretty sure that it was only a 1-year extension that he had. You know, Hughes and Muss obviously on big money and all that. I'm sure there's other guys that are going to be stepping up and looking for big money soon too. So, yeah, bro, this side. Moving over to our thoughts, obviously, overall, Premiership, right? This is the thoughts of it. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, they're finishing first for me. They'll take minor Premiership home easy. It's always tough playing Melbourne at Melbourne. So, you know, as long as they get through the Origin period unscathed, yeah, they're Premiership favourites for me. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, for me, they're not my number one side in the competition, and they're right up there, Premiership threats. I think that anyone that not looking at it that way is fairly silly. I can't see any other way about it other than maybe Penrith Panthers having another incredible season for a 5-peat. That sounds just fucking mental. But then again, we thought a 4-peat was mental. So
well, that's it. It's anybody's at the end of the day, but you know, Melbourne have the biggest hand on the trophy.
Yeah, totally agree, bro. Totally agree. Jose, good to see you jump into the chat, my brother. UFC talk after this, bro. Yeah, we might do like a couple of minutes of UFC chat after we talk about some Indigenous All-Star games. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. Obviously, all the previews are done, guys. If you missed out on any of our previews, make sure you jump over to my channel in the live tab. Go check out. We've had, 4 episodes of this already. We've done all the sides from the bottom to the top. And we're giving you our little predictions, our preseason predictions. We're going to do our proper prediction shows in a couple of weeks' time, guys. So keep an eye out for that as well. But that is all the previews done, guys. Again, if you missed out, go check it out on my YouTube channel as well. And again, as always, appreciate Brody coming in every Wednesday as he does and giving us time. And now going to be Thursday, guys. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night. We're going to give you tomorrow afternoon, we're going to give you our Supercoach teams coming to the season as well. So keep an eye out for that. But let's move over to the Indigenous All-Stars versus the Māori All-Star game, brother. Obviously, the big game coming into this weekend. I might try to put this up actually right next to us. So give me a couple of seconds. But your thoughts overall on this game? Where do you see... what are you looking at in this game? What are the names you're looking at, especially coming for the season? and the value play. Obviously, you're a big, you love your bets, bro. Where you're looking at in this All-Star game?
Yeah, well, when I checked the odds on this yesterday, sorry, yesterday morning, the team list wasn't announced yet, and they had the Kiwis as outsiders, and I thought that was crazy. Now, since seeing the team list has dropped, they've now jumped to favourites, and that's more where I thought they would be, because on paper, I see more chance of winning to go towards the Kiwis here.
I agree.
I think it'll be a good game. I'm really keen to see, obviously, the likes of the Hammer and Jaden Campbell. I like to see Jaden Campbell, how he plays at 5'8". But with that said, on the other side, I want to see how KP comes into this season firing. Will Warbrick, see if he can carry on from last year. See Royce Hunt, start. See if he can really show and prove that he wants to carry the Tigers into a premiership threat, potentially. I know that's a long way off. But other than those guys, I'm keen to see the likes of Dylan Lucas, Josh Curran, Leo Thompson, future doggy. Keanu Kinney on the bench. And I heard that your boy, or your ex-boy, Jazzy Tavunga's been tipped to play a bit of 9. And same with that Manly, he's been tipped to play starting 9.
Yeah, that's a really interesting call, because I've never really enjoyed Jazzy at number 9. He was able to do it early on in his career, but it's a really interesting. I chose where Manly's probably at now with Lachlan Croker, but still, I thought they had other hookers like Chan Kum Tong. Who did we talk about? There's Jake Simpkin there as well that they can fill in that role.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they go in that role, but interesting. Definitely a watch, especially in this game as well. Connor Watson starting 9 for the Indigenous All-Stars. Jaden Campbell in that 6 jersey. And coming into this weekend for the Titans, it's AJ Brimson and Kieran Foran, I think, for the trials. But there's still the heavy rumor going around. Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson will be the halves pairing. So could this be a little bit of a nod to that as well? I think that's a big key watch for a lot of people. Tyrone Munro, another one that I think a lot of people are going to be watching out for. Incredible, talented player. This game always produces, it always has so many talented players that have the ability to produce on the stage. And as I said, it carries over into the season. I've seen so many players go gangbuster in this game and then carry it over into the season and just go absolutely bonkers. Like as I said, Ruben Cotter is in the past. I've seen Josh Kerr do amazing things in this game as well.
Hopgood.
Yep, David Feeder as well in the past when he had that amazing breakaway try coming into that season for the Broncos. It's a big game. And looking at this multi side, it's stacked top to bottom. Kalen Ponga at fullback. I was wondering what they're going to do there with Keanu Keeney, Kalen Ponga, Chance Nickel-Cockstag, and Tain Tuapiki, who's back with us for preseason. They're stacked, bro. It's a stacked lineup. So exciting for this game.
Yeah, look, I'm keen to see a lot of points scored. Let's see that. A couple of big hits, and then let's just see some awesome tries. That's what I'm keen to see.
100%, bro. Who are you tipping for this game? I'm
gonna tip the Kiwis. For sure. I think they get it done, and I think they get it done fairly comfortable. The line's only 4.5. I'm eating that up.
Yeah, I see the multi all. Before that, I saw the value in the multi all stars when they're outside, and now they've all have come in as favorites, obviously overall. But I still see them being the one to knock over the Indigenous all stars in this game. But I just see this being a high scoring game as well. I see so much attack out of both these sides here. I'm really, really excited to see how it is out in that football field. So guys, get excited for that. And also the women's Indigenous game. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that up. Oh, here we go. The Indigenous All Stars. You excited for this matchup here, brother? I think there's a lot of great names on both these lineups.
Yeah,
I read out the women's Indigenous side. I was like, oh my God. Then I went over to multi Indigenous side. I was like, oh my God.
It's stacked, bro. We're getting treated with early preseason games. It's always, like you said, a good entertainment to watch this game. And then, we've got some really good trials on this weekend. And then straight after that, we got Vegas. It's all happening. It's all happening in a heartbeat. But yeah, bro, Jamie Chapman. I don't know how she's going to go at fullback, but Jamie Chapman in general, killer, bro.
Yeah, the big one I'm circling too. Obviously, there's all the big names in that. I'm so massive on Eva McEwen. I love what I saw out in Fetu Samoa. I cannot wait to see her in this Indigenous jersey and see what she could do sitting in the reserves here. So I'm not too sure how much time or whatever, however that figures itself out there. But it's going to be an incredible game. You got Shannon Marto, the captain for the Multi All-Stars, for the Women's Multi All-Stars. Obviously, the Queensland captain as well. Like, she's an absolute freak. With Ali Brigginshaw. I'm not too sure she's a Queensland captain, actually, but she's a Queensland front rower. Absolute beast in the middle. Both these sides. Jasmine Peters as well, a ton of potential. Talia Fui Mayono as well. Kira Dibb. Both these sides stacked top to bottom. Who are you tipping for this matchup here?
Yeah, look, I'm going to go with the Kiwis again. Racy McGregor, Killer Bro, Jasmine Strange, Shanice Barger, Sherrington, just goes on and on. And that's not to say that the Kiwi, the Indigenous girls don't have a solid lineup, because they do as well. I'm going to tip this one to be a lot closer though. But I'm still going to give the nod to the Kiwi girls.
Agreed. And what's Jamie Chapman for anytime try scorer? She's always a good one for.
They haven't really put the odds up for the try scorers in the women's yet.
Yeah, that sucks.
They might have now. They might have by now. My shit ain't loading though, so.
That's all right. Well, sure. Usually, obviously, she'll be playing fullback, a big name in this game. Maybe she'll be at $2 odds, something like that.
Yeah, I think she wouldn't be the standard cheapie that she normally is. Let's see. No, they've still only got the 2 markets up, bro.
That sucks. But guys, if they bring up any more markers on that, I like Jamie Chapman. I like Jasmine Strange, of course. She's a beast as well. So those are some of the names I'm looking at for anytime try scorer. And if Eva McEwen gets an opportunity there, guys, circle her. She's an absolute gun, an absolute beast. And we may as well move over quickly to the trials of the weekend. We won't touch on them too much, but obviously we're going to be looking out for a lot of these ones. A lot of teams playing their majority of their full strength squad. Obviously the Vegas sides, the Raiders and the Sharks starting off us tomorrow night. Going to be a really interesting game coming into Vegas. Running in through the weekend, you got Eels and Newcastle Knights on Friday, paired up with the Cowboys and the Dolphins. Saturday we got Warriors Storm. We got Rabbitohs Sea Eagles on the Saturday as well. And then we got the All-Star game. So it's an amazing day of football on the Saturday. And to finish off for the Sunday, we got the Broncos, Titans, Doggies, your Doggies, and the West Tigers, and the Dragons and the Roosters. With the Dragons and Roosters game as well, they're both names, I think, a lot of their full-strength side as well. Looking at both of them full-strength halves pairing. So going to be an interesting watch there as well, especially for Dragons fans coming to the season to see what Flano's got cooked up with Guffo and stuff like that, right?
See the fitness levels, yeah, 100%.
100%. And lastly, guys, I want to give it out to, obviously, Jose's been waiting for us to talk about the UFC. I didn't get to catch a lot of that card over the weekend. I had a lot of running around to do, and also had to catch up on our junior trials, so I missed out on quite a bit of it. But Brody is a UFC absolute lover, so he watches everything, guys. So your thoughts overall on the card in general? Who really impressed you in the card?
Yeah, well, look, the Aussies, when we have a card here in Australia, they normally tank, they don't normally do too well. But this time we win about 50-50, I think, off the top of my head. A few of the Aussie boys with standout performances. I can't remember the dude's name, escapes me, winning his UFC debut.
Salakield, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, in 19-second KO. So Quillen fucking killed it. Another young fella fought McCarthy. These names are gonna fucking kill me. But he fought Kevin Josette that fights out of the City Kickboxing. French fella. He had a bit of hype about him, and the Aussie boy just pieced him up for the 3 rounds. So he did really well on his Aussie debut as well.
Oh, Cody Steele went down. That's crazy. I was really hyped on Cody Steele. That sucked. How'd that go?
The dude was just trying to stand and bang, and he got fight of the night. They got fight of the night just for money, for just throwing down. That was a killer fight, bro. So if you have time, watch that one back. But he just fell into the scrap. He didn't want to fight technically. He didn't use his wrestling, and the boy came up against his training out of City Kickboxing as well. So they had a really good game plan. Yeah, he only recently moved there. So Eugene Behrman did a really good job with him on the game plan there to really bait Steele into a bit of a dogfight, and it just worked in his favor.
That sucks.
And then you had Ilya Toporia's brother going up against the Aussie on debut in Kobe Thickness. Thickness, a lot of great movements, a lot of great ability on the feet. He looked like he belonged there, but Toporia's power is just different. It's his brother. It's in their genes. When he hit Thickness, you just seen the difference, as opposed to when Thickness landed on Taporia, he just kind of shook it off. Crazy power. He suplexed him, bro, just for shits and gigs, like over the back onto old mate's neck. Like, just suplexed him.
Well, both the Taporia boys are jiu-jitsu boys too. They started out wrestlers and jiu-jitsu boys, and they just can crack. So crazy.
Oh, it's insane. Their boxing is just so technical. Yeah. We'll brush past that women's fight.
Tom Nolan, shout out Tommy Nolan.
Yeah, G-Bung boy, down the road. Ash tells me, killed it, man, killed it. He showed good ability to clinch. Some really good knees in the clinch. And his distance management just really put old mate away early, and then it was just an uphill battle for him to try and come back. But I'm pretty sure he clean sweeped that one 30-27 off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's the one fight that I watched, and I absolutely adore Tom Nolan. A lot of people actually they put a lot of similarities to him and Dan Hooker, very similar. But I think like him off the ground too, he's a nasty fighter off the ground. Like every time that the later on in that fight, where the commentators are like, Borishev, if he stays on top and continue to ground and pound, it's going to look good for the judges. I was sitting there like, bro, he's copping punishment from the bottom. Like Tom Nolan, bro, he's a freak. As Brody said, he actually trains out of close to where we are at. He's like I'm going to call it like the brother gym of the gym I used to go to with Damian Brown. His striking coach is Elliot Compton, and his dad, the name escapes me, Steve Compton. So he trains out of that gym. So he's an incredible kickboxer, great ground game. So keep an eye out for Tom Nolan for the future. Moving on, brother. Jack Jenkins going down. That sucks.
It does, bro. He just came up against a wrestler, got really controlled on the ground. Looked decent in the stand-up and was in the fight, but just from what I did catch on this fight, just every time I would check what was going on in between doing some things, just seeing him on his back, unfortunately.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. Jose is saying, felt bad for Tuffa, lol, but anyone up against someone who is 6'7", chances dwindle so far, and fair enough. Yeah, I think Tuffa sometimes just gets caught up in obviously the stand and bang, and unfortunately the Tuffa brothers just haven't really clicked in the UFC. Junior, I love and adore in kickboxing. I kind of wish he stayed in kickboxing now. And Justin, I probably see better inroads for him in kickboxing comparatively, but they're definitely entertaining fights no matter what, right? They can go down.
Put it this way, they're not in a boring heavyweight fight to the point where they're just skirting around the outside and trying to last the 15 minutes. They're trying to put someone out or get put out. So, just a bit of a bam about him now, just there for the shits and gigs, for the fun of it.
Very much. Very talented guy, guys. Like, obviously I've seen him train before. He was used to train around the area and that. But, obviously coming to UFC, this is a whole different league of competition. So
it's the best of the best for a reason.
100%.
Moving on to the last few fights. Jake Matthews,
good beast. Performance.
Yeah, his boxing is so technical now. Like, he's tightened that up. When he first came in, I swear he was mostly ground game. Look for the clinch, look for the sub. Now, man, his boxing is on another level. He looked great. Can't fault him. I'd like to start seeing him string a few wins together and move up the rankings a little bit. That'll be what I think is possible for Jake Matthews. Start trying to crack that top 15.
Very talented. Always been very talented. He's a big body, especially in real life. I ended up getting to meet him very luckily. He was one around there when I got my blue belt. And bro, he is so wide. Like seeing him on TV, I was like, yeah, he's a big body on that. But seeing him in real person, he's an absolute gun. So I do hope and pray. And also shout out to he's a big card collector. So he does his Jake's Breaks and very interesting streams. I absolutely love watching him.
Okay, cool. Bro. I might have to check that out.
Check it out, bro. Jimmy Crute in a draw.
Classic Jimmy. Another draw for Jimmy. It was good to see Jimmy back. He's had a long layoff now after those Mansfield fights that he had the draw and then he lost. But it's good to see him back. He nearly gave it away. He looked good. His stand-up looks like it's come a long way as well. He nearly got the first round knockout. Give it 20 more seconds and he would have. But a very dominant round. That was a 10-8 round, scored on all judges' scorecards. And then, round two was very close. I did give the nod to Jimmy in round two. and so did one other judge, but both other judges gave the other 2 rounds to the other guy. And shout out to him, he did really well to blow out those cobwebs and fight back to a decision. Because he was gone, bro, in that round 1. If you have a chance to watch that back, Jimmy Crute was fucking pounding him. So did really well to hold in there and get that draw. And he's been training with Pereira a lot as well, that other guy. So that explains why he could recover so quickly, why he had that ability to be able to stand up and take that punishment.
Yeah, when you get smoked by Alex Pereira for a living, it's going to carry over, right?
You'd want a good Chen.
Too. Yeah, yeah, 100%, bro. Moving over to the 2 main events, obviously the co-main and the main. Weili Zhang, massive performance. I didn't see this one coming. Obviously, I respect Weili Zhang, tremendously, but I had a lot of hype on Tatiana Suarez. But a disappointing performance from what I've heard.
Yeah, look, it's your standard wrestler versus striker, and normally you're on the striker because you like the striker more, and they just get out wrestled and they don't get to show any of their ability, and it's just the storyline that we've seen, Amali and Marab, Conor and Khabib, all that sort of shit. And I just thought the same thing was going to happen, but Weili just proved way too quick, way too strong. I guess we should have never doubted a girl that could pick up Shaq, but here we are. But Tatiana she didn't quite set up her wrestling as nice as I would have liked. She didn't really put a stand-up combination or a 1-2 in front of the takedown shot. It was kind of just like a shoot and reach for the legs. And she just got found out really quick. She got the first takedown in the first 30 seconds, and I thought, here we go. This is going to set the tone for the fight. But Weili, bro, shout out to her. She's the champ of all champs. Her game plan was solid. She just keep beating Tatiana to the spot before she would even think about going there. And she was already defending a takedown before Tatiana even knew she was going to shoot a takedown. That's just how quick Weili was in this fight. She prepared really well. She looked fit. She was strong. Her stand-up was killer. Yeah, I don't know what's next for her. I think maybe Shevchenko. We're going to have to make that super fight. It's just simple as that.
That's incredible fight on paper, bro. And especially seeing Weili in the past, she just struggled with a little bit of fight IQ in certain moments and that. I think she's come leaps and bounds into that, especially to defeat someone like Tatiana Suarez. That's very ground heavy. I thought Weili, seeing the highlights, I thought she did fairly well. Obviously didn't get to catch this fight, but I'll have to watch that one back. Moving over to the main event, Dracus Duplessis, obviously beating Sean Strickland by decision. I saw the nose break on Sean Strickland. That looked fucking hectic, and how dare he try to rearrange that mid-fight. But yeah, crazy fight, right?
Yeah, well, just quickly while we talk about the main fight, Jose, let us know your thoughts on how you think Weili and Shevchenko would go in the comments, brother. But as for this fight, look, I knew Strickland wasn't going to change anything. It's just how stubborn Strickland is. He doesn't even like listening to his coaches in the corner. And after 2 rounds, you could see the frustration in his coach that we got all this way back to a title fight for you to not do anything different. And you're leaving it out there where the rounds were kind of close, but Dricus was just throwing out enough to be able to steal the fights, steal the rounds. And his coach was frustrated. He was trying to get through to Sean that, brother, we knew last time that it was so close that we couldn't split them. And here we are, you're doing the same thing. You're not putting more out there. You need more energy. And he just didn't deliver on that. And that's fine. I think we're just coming to realize that Strickland never really should have been there. It's a bit like Jorge Masvidal that got 2 title shots when, he's a bit of a journeyman, then went on a little bit of a run, had some hype around him and got there and took advantage of it. Whereas Strickland actually did become champ because, he shocked Izzy. But now I think we're starting to realize that if you really do just throw a little bit back at him and don't let him overwhelm you with the jab and the pressure, you can beat him on points. Or if you're Alex Pereira, you knock him clean the fuck out. But that's an exception. But, he just didn't really make any adjustments, whereas you've seen Dricus made sure that he put exclamation marks on each round. You didn't get to watch that fight, did you?
No, again, that was one I missed out on. I've never really I've never enjoyed watching Dracus Duplessis fight as well anyway. As you know, he's definitely the shittest, best shittest fight I've ever seen in my life.
As everybody's saying.
Yeah, agrees with it. But, obviously with Sean Strickland, as you said, I think the game plan around Sean Strickland is he's very much he's a fighter that likes to go to distance. He wants to pep you with punches over time. His punches are never going to have a ton of power behind it. Like there's been times, obviously, he can rock people in certain moments and that. But if he can put one down the pipe and stop his movement behind him, because that's his best asset, is he's just going to walk you down and walk you around the ring. You're going to get tired, and that's where the accumulation of damage comes from. When you got Dracus du Plessis, that at the moment, like his stamina is probably one of his best assets.
It is these days.
Power. Right. Like he could just like throw it back and not be scared, just to continue to get in that dogfight with him. And technically, like he's all out everywhere. And I think sometimes that worries people like Strickland. That I think what makes Strickland so special too is certain fighters in the world that they spar so much where they fight technical fighters, like technically great fighters like Izzy, stuff like that, where their game's predicated on shutting down very technical fighters and playing like that. When you go up against someone like Dracus that throws punches from any different angle, and he will do it over like a long period of times at a fight, it's a really interesting, like it just throws a lot of fighters off. And I think Strickland's game is predicated on beating very good technical fighters that don't have big power. But when you go up against someone like Dracus that has a lot of stamina and that, this is what really happens.
I think that perfectly sums it up, bro. And his physique is on another level, yo. No, he weighed in at 185 and then he blew out to 225. As far as I was aware, that's the last post I've seen that he weighed in on fight day. So that's like crazy. That cardio, that physique, the way he mixes things up and the output he can put out is crazy. What did Jose get back to us on the way in for Shanchenko?
Jose didn't say too much about weight. Oh, actually, yeah, Zhang of Shanchenko would be crazy. It'd be one of the biggest fights, women's fights in recent times. I'd have to go Zhang by unanimous decision. I'm 50-50 on that. I still love Shanchenko. Obviously, she's not in the greatest vein of form as what she was back in the day. So Zhang maybe will have the upper hand in the odds overall.
Yeah,
but
right now.
If Shanchenko's outsider, I'll probably eat that up a little bit too. Like I reckon there's a little bit of value there too. And he also asked us, you guys got DDP and Chimaev for the next fight. Obviously, that was rumored. Also, DDP obviously calling out Alex Pereira, didn't he? Or there was
he did, yes. But he wants to fight Chimaev first. Why Pereira fights Uncle Life. Hopefully, they both get through that because I'd love to see that fight at 205 now that DDP has proved himself. It's kind of hard to not watch him now. You know, as you said, he was shit, and I'm thinking, how are these guys not beating him? But now he's starting to put it together, and it's like, all right, well, shut me up then, and nobody can, so say less.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Chimaev and DDP, look, if Chimaev doesn't get him out of there in the first round, DDP, simple as that.
Yeah, well, that's it.
But it's just if he can survive that first round, because Chimaev will go for the kill, and he needs to go for the kill, because if he tries to be technical and coast it out with DDP, you know that DDP is just going to overwork him and break him down. So it just depends if Chimaev can get him to the ground in round one and find a sub.
Totally agree. I'm 100% with you on that because, yeah, Chimaev's whole game predicates on just overwhelming you with that amazing wrestling pressure and stuff. But if he overexerts himself against someone like DDP, as I said, I always underestimate DDP no matter what. Like, if you can get him out, like, you know, even if it's like the first 2 or 3 rounds that Chimaev can't get him out of there, you just know that DDP's coming home with something there. Like, you know, he's going to win rounds in between and, yeah, incredible. But, yeah, Jose's absolutely loving the UFC chat. Also, do a UFC show, guys. You guys are gold. We've definitely been talking about it, bro. We're definitely going to try and figure it out. Obviously, we both work full-time and all that. We try to figure out schedule-wise the way we can do it. But definitely looking at that in the future, Jose. So keep an eye out for sure. But we'll definitely try and touch on a lot of big UFC fights that we're obviously like we're doing right now on Down Unders. I think our whole thought of the show during the season, obviously we want to do the previews come into the season, but with rugby league is talk about rugby league, but also talk about fights and just have a casual chat because me and Brody just do this all the time. So may as well just do it on the internet, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. And then, you know, on the UFC, it's kind of hard to get to everything me and Ash could talk about. You know, if we could just hook each other up to a mic all day when we see each other at work.
While we're at work, yeah.
It's all the goal. We're talking about stuff all the time. You know, we have to repeat ourselves a little bit for the stream, which we don't mind, you know, because we break it down and think of something else when we walk away from each other and elaborate more. But, you know, would love to do a UFC show. I know I definitely would. There's been talks between me and Ash that potentially we'll just hook up a live while we're watching it and you guys can have a watch along with us and we can talk about it then on the Sundays. And yeah, we might do something like that for the next big card. Yeah, it's just about timing. You know, we've got lives as well, where we're fairly busy on the outside of things, but yeah, we love spending time. We love giving our opinions. We love seeing all your guys' opinions. I wasn't too much for public speaking and stuff like that, but this has been great. So
yeah, bro. It's so good, man. It's so good to connect with people on the other side of the world and all that. But yeah, now would love to do it a little bit more. As I said, like we've been thinking about all these ideas. It's just obviously figuring out time schedules and stuff. Obviously, I got committed to Wires Up TV as well, which I want to grow that thing as well. But I absolutely love just talking to Brody as we do. And this Wednesday is awesome because, yeah, as I said, when we're at work, we want to talk like exactly like this. Like we could sit there for 2 hours and talk at work, but we can't do that because our work would sack us. Or actually, Brody won't sack because Brody's the boss of me at work or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like we can't be doing that. But you know, this helps that where we can do this online. And as I say, like I think the view for the show maybe for the future is to become like, you know, talk about the rugby league a little bit, not go so crazy in depth, but also be in depth in a way, but also talk about UFC in moments. And then Thursday, we want to talk about Supercoach too. So we're trying to figure this all out, guys, but we will figure this out during the year. And I just love having Brody on the channel anyway. So it's always really good. But any last thoughts before we jump off, bro?
Nah, that'll do me until tomorrow, boys. So if you're keen on Supercoach or want to know how to play Supercoach, some hot tips and our thoughts, we're going to be doing a quicker show tomorrow. It'll be about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on what you guys are interested in and what comments you throw out. But yeah, we're keen to get that rolling as well. So
yeah, 100%. Keep an eye out for the lockout tomorrow, guys. It's going to be really interesting. We're going to try and do it as much as we can coming into the season as well. And as always, tune in next Wednesday for Down Unders as well. Our thoughts around the trials and get excited. More videos for the channel, guys. Thank you so much, Brody, as always. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Hope you have a great weekend. Up the Wires, baby. Let's go.
Until tomorrow. Laters.